This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio,
ABC Sport Digital, and take us with you on the ABC Listener.
Look for the AFL button.
West Coast and Richmond to wrap up the round from WA. Clint Wilden with you in commentary alongside Mitch Turner. Our experts today, Sharad Wellingham and Shane Woden, for a battle that many have put forward as West Coast's best chance so far in season 2024 to crack a victory. They were, valiant for a half against Sydney and then saw that game slip away from them. The Tigers head west. Back-to-back away trips for them, not something that too many Melbourne clubs are used to, and they've lost so many gun players, but Dustin Martin is there, and a mouth-watering battle one-on-one with the rising star of West Coast, Harley Reid. The former number one draft pick does beckon. It's the fend-off standoff, the new whiz kid at that particular craft versus possibly the best exponent we've ever seen when it comes to shoving players out of the way. Will they go up against each other? We'll find out in just a few moments. Mitch Turner's seen the toss of the coin. Welcome, Mitch.
Great to be here again, Clint, back here at Perth Stadium. Toss has just been done. Ross Glendenning, former Eagles legend, doing the work. Richmond winning the toss. Toby Nankervis opting to kick to the Swan River end of the ground. So Richmond, the first win early on in the afternoon.
So the city end of the ground to the right of our broadcast position. Shane Woden, Sharad Wellingham. Bounce about to take place. Who wins? Can the Eagles get this done?
Good afternoon, gents. Good afternoon, listeners. I'm going with an upset. West Coast. West Coast to get the W.
Afternoon, everyone. Great to be here. I'm with Richmond today.
They do head across after being so impressive in their first half against the Saints. They're not playing aliens today. They are up against West Coast. Can they get their season started? Great, you could join us wherever you're listening. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Here's Mitch Turner.
Williams v Nankervis in the ruck. Tap came down. Yo on hands and knees for the Eagles. Gave it to Williams. Taken in a strong tackle by Jack Graham. Another ball up middle of the ground. To Ruckman to go at it again. Nankervis wins it down. Coming through, unable to take it, was down. Now Kelly's taken in a tackle. Umpire blows the whistle. It's a free kick. It's going the way of Richmond, though. It will be Thompson Dow. He'll win the first decisive clearance for Richmond. Kicks it inside the forward 50, out on the lead. Taking the mark is Lafau. Straight into it. Beautiful kick out into space. He takes the mark. Game number 4. Lining up the goal. Number 4 in his career.
Not sure how he managed to get that much of a split on Tom Barrass, who's usually very close checking defender. Yeah, good 1 and 2 metres there.
Directly in front, kicks from just inside the 50. It's a good-looking strike off the boots. It's a major to the Tigers, the first one of the afternoon. They strike the first blow. 1 straight 6, Richmond. The Eagles yet to score. 1 minute played here at Perth Stadium. Round 5 Footy AFL live on ABC Sport. Our experts, former Collingwood Premiership player Sharad Wellingham, Brownlow medalist Shane Woden.
It's good separation, wasn't it, Sharad? It didn't travel that far either. It was just more of a low punch kick. And
it wasn't like a drop short, but you're right. It was just like a punch kick, wasn't it?
Just something you can jump into and launch at.
What's it like downstairs? Bridget Lacey's the final member of our team today. Bridge?
Yeah, that's beautiful down here, 26 degrees. Some of the ground still bathed in sunlight, so perfect conditions for football. Just a slight breeze, if anything, favouring the Graham Farmer Freeway end of the ground.
Bailey Williams up against Nankervis. At the moment, it's Baker on Harley Reid. Bailey Williams had the first tap, but Nankervis was able to gather it, tried to hand pass it out. Slapped back by Dow of the Tigers. He picks it up and then goes to the ground under pressure from Yo. Going in there too, looking to lock it in, Luke Edwards. Ball up the call. Just forward of the centre circles for West Coast. Great early start for the visitors. Tigers in front by a goal. Bailey Williams at the back. Won it down. Yo couldn't take it cleanly. Tried to soccer it off the ground. Came off the shins of Kelly. Then bobbled up to him. Kicks West Coast inside forward 50. Again, the Eagles have it. Comes to Darling. Got the hand pass from Long. Hand pass was back. Tapped down by McIntosh. Darling steals it again from the right forward pocket. Kicks around the body. And Vostone was cool under pressure. In the left back pocket, he takes the defensive mark. No change to that score. Tigers by 6 points. 3 gone in the first.
Lost and short to Miller. Comes Wider out to the pocket and finds Broad. Nathan Broad, West Aussie, playing back in his home state. Three-time premiership player for the Tigers. Kicks it up the wing. Duggan in best position, but West Coast takes the mark. It's looking for Bolton, but Duggan chopped it off. Shared it with Rodham. His kick inside the forward 50. Now coming from behind was Petruccelli, but a strong mark taken by Broad. Now look to do something a little bit better with the ball this time. He switches it across his own defensive 50. Finds Miller. Another West Australian. Plenty of them out there for the Tigers as they return here to Perth Stadium. Aiming for win number 2. He kicks it up the wing to Baker. Takes a good mark going back. Handballs off to the run of McIntosh. Takes a bounce. Runs towards the 50. A second bounce. Closing hard from behind. He kicks it to the goal square. Rioli takes the mark. Plays on. Smothered. Oh, it falls to Bolton. They almost mess it up, the Tigers, but Bolton snaps it around the body. It was almost a complete stuff-up from Richmond. But Bolton was able to take the ricochet, turn around, snap it through. And after all of that, Richmond have their second goal. 4 minutes in, they lead 2 straight 12. The Eagles yet to score here at Perth Stadium. Round 5, Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Nearly butchered it, didn't they? Tried their best. The work rate of Rioli, though, for him to get to that position in the goal square was immense. He was up here almost on centre wing and was able to get 5 to 10 metre break on Witherden just through sheer pace and work rate.
I don't want to harp on it, but every single player in that mix was West Australian for Richmond. There was 6 of them.
I was going to say the Territory would have a claim
Rioli,
to Morris.
He's a bit of both.
Yeah.
But we'll claim him for his father.
Famous name in WA football. Territory, understandably, was saying, what about us in all of that? That one down by the Eagles. Harley Reid's out to try to gather, can't. Baker steals it away for the Tigers. Kicks towards left half forward. This is a nice build-up from Richmond. Chance to go through Campbell. He'll look to play on by hand. Daniel Rioli looks to stab it inside the forward 50 and Bolton marks. Leading out strongly. Marks just inside his forward 50. It's a 45-degree angle, slightly tighter. Out to the left, he'll kick from bang on 50.
Speed of Richmond across the ground might worry West Coast a little bit today. They're high forwards to get up. I think a lot of tools in their lineup, particularly in the front half. Only Kazitsky really, so...
Bolton twirling the footy over in his hands. What a start for him and Richmond this would be. The kick is from 50. It's across the face of goal. Misses to the right-hand side. 2-1 Richmond. West Coast yet to score. 6 gone in the opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
So Liam Duggan, sole skipper for the Eagles today. In the absence of Oscar Allen, he's tasked with bringing the ball back in. Kicks it to the wing. Bailey Williams couldn't mark. Hunt sockers it off the ground for West Coast. Gains about 35 metres. Broad able to pick it up. Runs out of bounds with not a lot of pressure, and the umpire penalises him for it as well. He tucked it under the arm, ran over the boundary line. Wasn't a lot of pressure stopping him from turning outfield. That's what the umpire thought anyway. Petruccelli with the free kick for the Eagles. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Brockman jumped early and Waterman was waiting at the back. Jake Waterman takes the mark, unopposed in the end, and he'll go back and have a set shot. It's just slightly worse than a 45-degree angle. And will kick from about 35-40 out.
A little bit fortunate there, I think, Waterman. Sun may have got in Brockman's eyes, I believe, which is why he pulled out of the contest a little bit and it just landed straight into his breadbasket.
6 goals from his 4 games so far this season. Waterman for the Eagles first. He pulls it badly to the left and it's a minor score. So the Eagles' first score of the afternoon is a behind. That's all they have on the scoreboard. They trail Richmond by 12. They're 2-1, 13, 7 minutes gone.
Martin playing furthest up the ground for the Tigers. McGovern's with him as Richmond bring it beyond their defensive 50 to Vostone, who marks it left half back. Thought about going short by hand. Instead, will stab it down the line. Works it out to Campbell. It's told to move it on now from just forward of left half back. Kicks to a contest. Left half forward, big fly. Coming up Lafau, couldn't mark. Spills down to Baker. Immediately held to him. Locked in by Edwards. Ball up the court.
They've got no genuine tools down the line today at Richmond. If Kazitsky's off,
And Curtis palms it down straight to Jinby, though. His hand pass stolen by Baker. Threw it on the boot, immediately kicked around the body. Only got it as far as McGovern, who flared it out to right half back for the Eagles. And Kelly marks. Tigers by 12 points, 8 gone in the first. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
So out to an early lead, the Tigers. The West Coast Eagles with the ball at the moment, though. Kelly goes up the wing. Williams couldn't mark him in front. Well roved by Baker. Looping handball. Was chopped off by West Coast. Coming through, Brockman was able to find Waterman just outside the forward 50. Pokes it into the pocket. Cripps couldn't mark. It was knocked away well by Broad. Did well to follow up too. Found McIntosh, and he now just retreats back inside his defensive 50 for the time being. And Miller decides to go even further back, right to his own defensive goal square. Finds Young, who kicks it back to Miller. Now he wants to play off. Will play on. He kicks it up the wing, and it's a good kick onto the chest of Campbell. Richmond patient with the ball here. Campbell inside to Dustin Martin. Plays on, kicks it up the wing. Not the best kick. Bolton almost made it work. Was able to tap it into the path of McIntosh. He's running towards the 450. Lowers the eyes, kicks and finds a diving, sliding Rioli. Patient ball use from Richmond. It ends up in what will be a shot on goal here for Morris Rioli.
I think you're right with the pace over the ground. Well, they just seem to be able to create and find teammates in that pocket of space with work rate.
I don't want to go long. The work rate for the kicker at the moment is very good. Finding shorts, hitting 45s, waiting for something to open up and being patient.
Had a chance to kick the second goal of the game from a much easier spot than this. This time he kicks from just inside the forward 50, pulls it badly to the left, all the way out on the full. Doesn't register a score. So 2 chances for Morris Rioli. Unable to hit the scoreboard just yet. West Coast will have the ball back. 10 minutes played. Opening quarter here at Perth Stadium.
Got too close to the kick. Go on the mark.
Here's Barris for West Coast. It's the ball back into play at right half back. Flying Bailey Williams. That's a great mark. High up into the air and dragged it down. Moves it short to Hoff, who's forced to backtrack again to Rothen, marking in his defensive 50. Sends it right back to Barris at full back. Nothing on the southern side. The Eagles come to the northern wing, looking for Edwards. Knocked down then well by the Tigers. Knocking at the ground was Ralph Smith. It came to Martin, puts it into the right forward pocket. Unable to mark it was Pickett. Oh, strong by Lafau. Shrugged the tackle, got a kick away. Knocked down though by Hoff defensively. Hand pass was straight to Long, who was tackled immediately by Bolton. No chance of getting that away. Ball up deep in the right forward pocket for the Tigers. 2-1-13 to 1 behind. Richmond lead. 11 gone in the opening term. Just sorting out who the rucks are. It's going to be Lafau against Bailey Williams, who palms it down for the Eagles. Then it came to Lafau, tapped it into the path of a teammate. McAuliffe gives it back towards Martin, snapped around the body, didn't quite get the purchase he would have wanted on it. Rotherham standing in the goal square, takes the defensive mark for West Coast.
So Richmond doing plenty of the attacking early stages of this game. They lead by 12 points. Rotham's kick clearing outside beyond defensive 50. Good mark, Waterman. Second good mark he's taken so far this game. However, this time it's just beyond right half-back. Kicks it just slightly further afield. Finds Cole. Cole backwards. The umpire almost got in the way of Alex Withard in the late in. Callum Jamieson withdrawn with a hamstring issue. Withard and retreats further back. Rotherham has the ball inside defensive 50. Kicks it. Oh, a little too hot for Hoff. Couldn't take the mark. Graham stole it. Gave it to Martin. Little outside of the boot kick. Finds Bolton. Play on. Snap around the body's a goal. Richmond forced the turnover. Bolton has 2. The Tigers get their third. 3-1-19. The Eagles one straight behind. It's an 18-point margin. 12 minutes played. West Coast yet to really fire a shot here. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Sharad Wellingham, Shane Woden.
Not too sure why they're so apprehensive about going up the line and at least having a contest forward of the centre of the ground.
Yeah, they got height.
They got the height forward of the ball.
Good trap.
Just trying to go around, and it's just inviting the Richmond pressure, which we know that they love. Coming forward to defend and applying that pressure.
Yeah, their defensive trap at the moment and delaying West Coast from their back half is very good. And then press them when they do look to shift the footy.
40 disposals to 26 in favour of the Tigers. 2 of their 3 goals coming from turnovers so far from the restart. The ruck had a telling tap. Jack Williams is in there for West Coast. It comes out to Graham, then to Baker for the Tigers. Kick towards right half forward. Mansell did well to gather. Fight a hand pass inboard again to Baker, who has been busy. Goes looking for Lafau, marking right where the 50-metre arc meets the boundary at right half forward for the Tigers.
Good mitts.
Has been impressive. Coming off the rookie list, was upgraded. He's been a genuine target. He's got one today as well. Kicks from beyond the boundary. He'll send it up towards full forward. McGovern waits underneath it. Spills down at the back. Brockman, tackle. Got a hand pass out, though, to Witherden. Hand pass behind Hoff. Picks it up hard up against the boundary in the right back pocket. Sends the Eagles beyond defensive 50, and it's a free kick going to Petruccelli, who was dealt with by Miller, who, it has to be said, was less than happy about it as he hurled the ball back to Petruccelli, who's got it for West Coast at right half back. The Tigers still by 18 points. 14 gone in the first. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
It was delivered up the wing nicely to Darling, who gets a cheer from the crowd. So the West Coast fans getting behind their goal-kicking veteran. His kick towards half-forward was looking for Williams in front. Great mark taken by Kajitsky, who finds himself at half-back. Looking for a lot of goals out of Jacob Kajitsky today. But at the moment for the Tigers, he's in the defensive 50. His kick up the wing was off hands. Pickett trying to get it to Bolton. Couldn't tap it to himself. Stolen by Hoff for West Coast. Gave it to Duggan. His kick just beyond Jimby. Can he trap it before the boundary? Yes. Handballs it back to Witherden. Oh, he gave it to Jimby again. He was set up and tackled over the line by McIntosh. It'll be a ball in. Far side of the ground on the wing. 14 and a half, almost 15 played here at Perth Stadium. It's an 18-point lead the way of the Tigers. Clint Wheeldon.
Geelong by 75 over North earlier today. Throwing in. One down by Richmond. Emerging with it, Graham. Gets a kick inside forward 50. Front position, Cole should have been able to mark. Now it's with Baker. Oh, sells some candy against Barris and heads towards goal. He's got the Tigers fourth. Punches the air in celebration and then looks for Tiger after Tiger to high five as he now heads to the bench. That was slick again. They couldn't take the mark. Mansell had it, got it onto Baker, and then really did just leave Barris in his wake. 4-1-25 Richmond, one behind the Eagles. 16 gone in the opening term. Bridget Lacey's downstairs.
I know we're on Dusty Watch and Harley Reid Watch today. Interestingly, they just came to the bench at the same time, so hopefully that they can keep on that schedule and we can see a little bit more action between the two today. Just repeating that the subs for today, West Coast for West Coast, Ryan Marrick, and for Richmond, Tyler Swansea.
Haven't really been anywhere near each other despite all the hype about the battle between Reid and Martin. Not sure Reid's had a touch, has he?
He has not.
Took Sydney until the 8-minute mark of the second quarter last week to kick 4 against West Coast. They've got 4 already today. Kelly's kick towards half-forward. He was knocked off it for West Coast. Out in front was Veloston. Had to get on hands and knees. Tried to feed it to a teammate. Couldn't. Richmond trying to extract it. Now Yo goes in for the Eagles. He's taken in a tackle by Daniel Rioli. The crowd wanted higher. Umpire didn't give it. Then Nankervis. He shook the tackle from Yo. Crowd not happy. West Coast managed to win it back now. Petruccelli stole it, gave it to Kelly. His kick toward him and knocked away. Richmond defending strongly again. They managed to clear defensive 50 and Bolton takes a strong mark. Plays on quickly up the wing, but the kick is a poor one. Is never favouring his leading teammate in Kajitsky, and Barris takes the intercept mark. But Bolton's been dangerous early. Hold 3 votes in both games last year against West Coast.
Barris towards left half forward. Oh, that's a stunning grab. Velostone reached up into the stars and dragged down the footy. Goodness me, he flew over the top of a pack of 4. Should have taken a bit more time to look at the replay on the big screen. Moved it on quickly, though, to Miller. Kicks the Tigers towards right half forward. No mark taken. Spills down at the back. He's got hands to it. Petruccelli at the bottom of that. Gathers it and got tackled to ground. Ball up will be the call.
That just set up perfectly, didn't it? Boston, huge leap.
Kajitsky had 2 goes at it. Leaves the ball and then it's taken over the boundary line by the Tigers. Jack Williams doing the defending. It's Dow who was the Tiger taken over. Throw in right with a 50-metre up. Meets the boundary. We've seen about 4 replays now on the big screen. You could watch it over and over again. That's a beauty. Throwing in again. And Curvis got the first tap to it. Trying to emerge with it was Ralph Smith, and eventually he's been tackled. Just wouldn't get away from Chesser. Both rucks still go at it. Now Gathered went straight back into Jack Williams, and there'll be another ball up at right half forward for the Tigers. 4-1-25 Richmond. The Eagles are 1 behind, 18 gone in the first term.
Jack Williams, West Coast in the ruck this time. V. Nankervis couldn't win a clean tap. Yo was able to give it to Kelly, then on to Jimby. Snap up the wing, Vlauston coming from behind. This time he punches, knocked it down to Ralph Smith. He was able to share it with Graham. A tumbling left foot kick inside the forward 50. Kajitsky trying to take possession, couldn't. Had Barris for company, was able to give it to Graham. Now Richmond poked the ball inside the forward 50, and again diving forward and taking another mark is Morris Rioli. Terrific grab. He's already had a couple cracks at goal today. This will be his 3rd attempt. Can it be his first major?
Great havoc, the Smalls, in their front half. Just better win the contest.
Every contest
at the moment, and nullify anything that West Coast do when they do go forward.
He had one kick smothered in the goal square, Morris Rioli. He pulled one out on the full this time. 45-degree angle, 45 metres out. Kick is on the way, and it's fading late to the right. So a minus score for the Tigers. 4-2-26 Richmond. One straight behind West Coast. A 25-point margin. 20 minutes played here, Perth Stadium. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Eagles captain William Duggan kicks beyond defensive 50 towards left half back. Big pack up. No mark taken. Daniel Rioli tried to tap it to himself and got a hand pass away. Wanted to find McIntosh. Pressure came from Chesser. Jimby went in there, tackled him. Came out to Edwards, immediately on to Kelly. Quick hand pass back to Williams. He's tackled to ground by Nankervis. Tigers win it through Dow, picking it up off the ground. Swept a hand pass forward. Bolton tried to tap it back inboard. Couldn't find a Tiger. Hoff got a hand pass away for the Eels with it, and should be done holding the ball. Tackled, taken to ground. Free kick towards the Tigers. And they'll have it at right half forward. Graham hands it off, running by Short. Short goes long towards goal. Wasn't far away. And it's just touched, indeed it has, the right-hand goal post. And quickly, the Eagles away to the outer side.
Eagles have a man out in space on the wing. It's Noah Long. Takes the mark, has Hunts over the top, chooses to go longer, kicks it up the wing to Petruccelli. The Eagles still trying to surge forward. Richmond have got numbers behind the ball. Petruccelli weighs up his options. Now he takes off, kicks it straight into the man of the mark in Brown. The Tigers win it back, shared it with Vlauston. Then Brown's little kick just carried the 15. Lafau takes the mark, and just like that, Richmond have the ball back. They try to move it up the wing this time. Couldn't find a target, Lafau. Ralph Smith did well to get back on the ball. Then he was tackled strongly. Just threw it away. Umpire said play on. West Coast win it back. Edwards handball knocked down. The Tigers back on it again. Kick it inside the forward 50. Kajitsky can't take the mark. Rotham cleans up for West Coast. Finds Yo at half-back, who kicks wide to Darling on the wing. He drops the mark.
Has time, though, to regather. Sends it down the wing. Bounced in front of Woodman, who did really well to gather. He scooped it up the moment he did so. Tackled by Graham. It's been held in. Bit of problems on the other side of the ground. Bridget Lacey.
Yeah, Luke Edwards got up really gingerly after that contest up there on the wing. He's just jogging it out now and looks to be okay, so that's good news for West Coast.
I reckon he got a knock to the head in that previous battle as Bailey Williams tapped it to himself and then is taken over the boundary line for a throw-in. It was Baker applying the pressure for the Tigers, who lead by 26, 22 gone in the first.
Bringing good heat at the moment, Richmond, aren't they? They really come forward, put pressure on the ball carrier.
And they're just reading everything. They're 2 steps ahead at the moment.
Nankervis against Bailey Williams. Nankervis won it down. Bounced away from Graham. Scooped up by Chesser. Gets a hand pass to Reid. He's tackled high by Baker. And he'll get the free kick. Be Reid's first disposal of the game. I'm certainly not trying to put any pressure on him. He's an 18-year-old. The focus is just immense in this state for him. Kicks inside forward 50. Flying up broad. Got hands to it. Couldn't mark. Here's Petruccelli. Was able to pick it up. Got a hand pass back to Long. Threw it on the boot. Bounces the way of Vlostone at full-back. Gets away from one opponent, then flares the kick out high towards left half-back. Morris Rioli in hot pursuit against Duggan. Rioli tapped it to his own advantage. He's got the pace, gathers, turns around Duggan, and then gets a kick in the direction of Martin. Tries to drag it in one-handed. He's able to gather, though. Hoff might have been taken high. Barris looks to scoop it up, and he goes to Duggan for West Coast.
Duggan has Luke Edwards over the top. Thought about going for a moment. Then pulled back on his mark. Numbers starting to flood back in front of him. 23 minutes play. The Eagles yet to kick a major. Now Edwards finally kicks it inside the forward 50 from behind. Williams and Nankervis fell down to Petrocelli. He couldn't handle it. Players diving in inside the forward 50. Pack forms. The umpire will ball it up. It's about 35 metres out from West Coast goal. 5 metres in from the boundary, right forward pocket. Just the one behind for West Coast so far. Richmond. They lead by 26 points. Ball comes down. Trying to burst through was Brockman. Was able to get it to Kelly. Tucked on the boundary. Kicks towards the top of the square. Off hands. Chesser can't gain possession. He's pushed off it by Pickett. And the Tigers still under pressure trying to work it out. Pickett gave it to Daniel Rioli. This time goes back to Brown. Kick beyond defensive 50. 1-on-1 v Cole. Knocked it to ground. Rotham came through for West Coast. And now the umpire will ball it up as a pack forms. Chaos was ensuing though.
Tyler Young still operating minus a footy boot. It's a good 30, 40 metres away. It's just been picked up by one of the trainers as Reid emerges through congestion. And a hand pass away to Cole. Kicks inside 450. Darling! Jack Darling out to mark. It's been a frustrating couple of weeks for Jack.
He does absorb the pressure well, doesn't he? Harley stands up in the tackle. We know he's been written about with that, but he seen him live for the first time. Does it very well.
Jack Darling, 1-2 for the season. We're right behind the kick. From the left forward pocket, he puts boots of ball from 40 outs. Eagles fans rejoice. Jack Darling will breathe a sigh of relief after a couple of quiet weeks in front of goal. He puts his name back on the goal kickers list and he moves to goal 512. West Coast with their first of the day. 1-1-7 the Eagles. The Tigers 4-3, 27, 26 gone in the first. Sunday footy on ABC Sport, on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and streaming on the ABC Listen app. Clint Wilton alongside Mitch Turner, our experts Shane Woden and Sharad Wellingham.
It was Harley Reid's ability to stand up in that tackle. Everyone kind of gets drawn in, and then West Coast players out there on his own and Coley, and it was just a quick kick forward. Forward slot playing in front and having the ball coming quickly. Doesn't allow defenders to come across and set up. And beautiful set shot from Jack.
The Eagles avoid their first goalless opening quarter of the season. Ball comes down in the middle. Reid was taken in a tackle. Yo was able to win it to Duggan. His kick's high up and under, just clears beyond the other side of the centre square. Going back, trying to take the mark was Vlost, and he was taken in a tackle by Cripps. Stoppage, ball up. 55 out from the West Coast attacking goal. And they sneak another one. 26 minutes played this opening term. Yo through Doway without it. No free kick given. This time Brockman lays the tackle. Laid it on Richmond. The umpire let it go for a long time. Yo eventually just went and extracted it, ripped it out. Now the kick goes inside West Coast forward 50. Darling couldn't mark. Now he gets back on it. Gains possession. Gives it to Harley Reid. Snap around the body for his first goal in front of his home crowd. Harley Reid delivers. And that's the biggest roar you've heard here at Perth Stadium for a long, long time for the Eagles. He kicked his first AFL goal last week. This time, it's his first major in front of the home fans. And the Eagles have two in a row. 2-1-13. They trail Richmond 4-3-27. 27 minutes played, 14-point margin. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Sharad Wellingham, Shane Woden, our experts.
It's good to see from Harley. Like, he got out of the contest, got forward.
He just hunts the ball too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Got his eye on it, always moving, doesn't watch. He's not ball watching, he's ball hunting, isn't he?
Yeah, it's okay for mids to push hard forward if they can have an impact.
Played to the whistle too. No whistle, Yo. He just thought, I'm just going to grab it, get it inside our forward 50 again. Good fight back here.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Kick the pass to West Coast. From the bounce, Bailey Williams went up, Vancouver stayed down and came to Kelly for the Eagles, bursting through, kicks the full forward, Waterman front position. Takes the mark, 35 out from goal, in line with the left hand behind post.
It's better from West Coast, getting some field position from clearance. Gives their forwards a chance when they're one out. Richmond a very good rolling defence, how they get in behind the ball and support.
Well, we've seen a few more stoppages over the last probably 10 minutes, and the stats clearances are in West Coast way, 9-6. So it's in general play. We're really seeing Richmond able to put that pressure on, but at stoppages, we're able to see them break West Coast, get the advantage.
Jake Waterman, 6'5" for the season. Big kick this for the Eagles. He puts it through. He liked it a lot too. West Coast, they've stormed back into this contest. After trailing at one stage by 26 points, we're now back to what is just an 8-point margin. Richmond 4-3-27, the Eagles 3-1-19, 29 gone in the opening terms. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Bridget Lacey's downstairs.
Yeah, Adam Simpson just arrived at ground level in time to see that goal from Waterman, but interestingly he has spent a fair bit of time coaching from the bench early in the season, but has retreated back up to the box for today.
Means he would have missed Harley Reid's goal, probably Adam Simpson.
It is a bit of a trek from downstairs, from upstairs with the coaches' boxes, you're right.
I saw him walk out as Waterman took the mark, so it was straight from the clearance for West Coast. Can they do it again? Not a lot of time left. Williams taps it down. Harley Reid in the middle, gives it to Kim Kelly, breaks a tackle. Now Duggan's kick is smothered. Bolton steals it, kicks it inside the forward 50, but the siren beats the players to it. End of the first quarter here at Perth Stadium. Final game of round 5 in the AFL. Richmond 4-3-27. They lead the Eagles 3-1-19. But West Coast kick the final 3 goals of the quarter. Clint Wheeldon.
So the goal kickers for the Tigers, 2 to Bolton and singles to Lafau and to Baker, while for West Coast, all individuals there 3. Waterman, Reid and Darling. The Tigers bounced out to a solid lead, up by 26 points at one stage. It is 8 points at quarter time. We've got the contest that the 45,000 or so in today were desperately hoping for. West Coast, their fans have pinpointed this as one they can win. The Tigers, though, showed early on they won't just lie down. Hopefully this game's as good as some of the others we've seen in round 5. Earlier today, Geelong by 75 points over North Melbourne. That was a bit more lopsided. But here in the West, the Tigers by 8 points. Wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and streaming on the ABC Listen app, this is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
G'day, this is Becky Cole inviting you to join me each week for Saturday Night Country. For more than 30 years, we've been playing the best in Australian country music, as well as the overseas artists that you know and love. So whether it's the classic tunes that you grew up with, the best new releases, or the interviews of your favourite acts, you'll find it all on Saturday Night Country. Saturday Night Country. Hear it anytime on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
It will be Thompson Dow. He'll win the first decisive clearance for Richmond. Kicks it inside the forward 50, out on the lead. Taking the mark is Lafau. Directly in front, kicks from just inside the 50. It's a good-looking strike off the boots. It's a major to the Tigers, the first one of the afternoon. They strike the first blow. Inside defensive 50, kicks it. Oh, a little too hot for Hoff. Couldn't take the mark. Graham stole it, gave it to Martin. Little outside of the boot kick. Finds Bolton. Play on, snap around the body's a goal. Richmond forced the turnover. Bolton has 2.
Cole should have been able to mark. Now it's with Baker. Oh, sells some candy against Barris and heads towards goal. He's got the Tigers 4th. That was slick again. Barris towards left half forward. Oh, that's a stunning grab. Volostone reached up into the stars and dragged down the footy. Goodness me, he flew over the top of a pack of 4. A hand pass away to Cole. Kicks inside for 50. Darling boots the ball from 40 out. Eagles fans rejoice.
Darling couldn't mark. Now he gets back on it. Gains possession. Gives it to Harley Reid. Snap around the body. For his first goal in front of his home crowd. Harley Reid delivers.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
And if you'd like to join us, you can via the text line 0437 774 774. If you'd like to get in touch, 0437 774 774. Love to hear from you wherever you happen to be, as West Coast have got themselves right back into this contest. It's the Tigers by 8 points after they dominated early proceedings, Richmond. What have you made of things? Our experts today on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport, Shane Woden and Sharad Wellingham.
Yeah, I think we made mention of it just during the call towards the back end when we saw the game get taken to a clearance and contest situation. West Coast were able to battle their way back into it. But for the majority of that quarter, it was really Richmond pressure. Richmond pressure, bringing it on, getting the ball forward. But they were still really patient when they did get their hands on it and waited for the correct option forward ahead.
Yeah, it was a turnover game early, wasn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, where it falls into Richmond's hands, chaos, get it forward. It's like they've got a long-term injuries with Richmond's tall, so they're playing a lot smaller in their front half, so they want to move the footy quick. They don't want to bomb it long to Barris and McGovern all day, so yeah, get it on the ground, get it moving forward. But you're right, West Coast, closed it down in that last 5 or 6 minutes, turned it into a stoppage game, started to get on top of clearance and give their forwards a chance ahead of the ball. They're playing 6 ahead at the moment. Richmond are squeezing one up.
Just trying to get it in there quickly, even numbers ahead.
Yeah, because you're like Miller, Young, probably not great early. So, Waterman, Darling, when they're getting looks at it, they're clunking it. So it gives them a chance.
Mitch Turner's got some of the numbers for us. Mitch?
Some of the stats quickly. The possession getters for both sides. For the Eagles, Tim Kelly has 9, Liam Duggan with 7, Jack Darling with 6. The leading disposal getters for West Coast. For the Tigers, Graham, Miller and Baker all have 7. Veloston has 6 to go this Mark of the Year contender. The disposals dead even at 80 apiece. The inside 50s 14 to 10 the way of Richmond. The clearances 9 to 7 the way of West Coast. The tackle count 18 apiece.
The Eagles celebrating their very first team from round 1, 1987 today. Most of the team been around the club during the week. They're certainly all here today. That was a remarkable fight back as well from West Coast that day, trailing by 33 points at three-quarter time. They stormed home to beat the Tigers by 14. Ross Glendenning, captain on that day. Spotted him in the crowd a short time ago. Danny Laidley here as well, another member of that side. Here we go, second term about to get underway. Tigers lead by 8 points. Nankervis wins the tap for Richmond. Yo's out after it. Manages to tap it onto the ground. Tried to get it back to Williams. Couldn't quite get it cleanly. Still there to be won. Yo looks to emerge with it from a pack. Kelly battling away against Graham. Still the ball's been locked in here. The umpire let that go a long time on the outer side of the centre circles. They'll ball it up. Bridget Lacey's on the boundary. Bridge.
Luke Edwards is a watch. He headed down to the rooms with the dock at at quarter time. I'll keep you updated.
Ali Williams won the tap down, but it's a holding decision against him. It'll go to Nankervis. Stands on the outer edge of the centre circles. He'll trot back. The red Sharon in his hands. With the left, sends it long inside the forward 50. Up McGovern takes the defensive mark for West Coast.
That's what Richmond don't want to be doing, kicking it straight to Jeremy McGovern for the turnover.
Arguably been West Coast's best player this season. Good intercept mark from the forward side. All-Australian. Shared the ball with Rotham. His kick outside defensive 50. Veloston got there and spilt the chest mark. Now Jaden Hunt in for West Coast. He's tackled by the Tigers number 1. It'll be a ball up. Took the one above the pack earlier. Nick Veloston this time dropped the simplest of chest marks. It's the way footy works sometimes. Umpire tosses the ball back in the end, and Curvis tapped it down to Baker. Couldn't take clean possession. Now in there is McCall. His handball was high up and under. Kelly stole it for West Coast. Gave it to Yo. Veloston going back with courage. Couldn't take the mark. He's down. He's hurt. So too Cripps. Coming through is Jimby. He's taken in a tackle. It's high. It's a big impact between Nick Veloston and Jamie Cripps. And Jimby is also proppy. He was taken high in the tackle. He's won a free kick inside the centre square, but he is very proppy as he kicks the ball inside, attacking 50 from behind. Williams leads up and takes the mark. It's the Jack variety for West Coast. Jack Williams takes the mark just inside the 50. He'll go back and have to kick from beyond the paint for the Eagles' fourth.
Ruben looks to be in a huge amount of pain, or discomfort more so than pain. Not really sure. He's trying to run it off.
He was looking to come off there. I
think he looks like he's coming down.
It's hard to tell what the issue is. He had that hamstring surgery last year, so fingers crossed it's not related to that. Jack Williams on the approach. Kicks from 52 metres out. It was a good-looking strike off the boot. It was perfect. Jack Williams gets the goal. The Eagles get their fourth. And the margin all of a sudden is back to 2 points. Early stages here of the second quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Mitch Turner alongside Clint Wilden, our experts. Collingwood Premiership player Sharrod Wellingham, Brownlow medalist Shane Woewode.
Just got to keep giving this guy game time, don't they?
Yeah,
just keep playing him. He's going to take a little bit of time, obviously, as a tall, but great work there. Did some work on Miller, and Miller refused to go with him.
That last couple of metres of the hit on the attack on the contest was really impressive, wasn't it?
It was for a young...
Came from a long way back and just launched himself at the ball.
Just 20 years of age, taken at 57 in the 2021 draft. It's on the scoreboard, Jack Williams. Nankervis won the tap down, but Yo is there, got it to Reid. Managed to get away from Martin, arches the back and gets away from Nankervis, takes a bounce, runs towards centre half forward. Reid sends the Eagles towards Waterman, marking in front of the left hand behind post, diving backwards. That's a great mark. And he can go back and from the tightest of angles potentially put the Eagles in front.
I love that.
There's that run and carry. Looked like the other guy who used to wear number 9, didn't it?
You both had smiles on your faces then as I look back at you.
You love seeing that kid just take the game on.
Just recognise where the space was.
Waterman around the body, snaps the goal. The Eagles do hit the front at the 4-minute mark of the second term. Richmond had led since the get-go. But now the Eagles, with everything that you would want to see from their midfield with the likes of what Harley Reid could do, and then a fine kick from left full forward from the boots of Jake Waterman, who's now got his second. They're 5-1-31. The Tigers are 4-3-27, 4.5 gone in the second.
A goal from stoppage.
Yeah.
Again, centre bounce, 6v6. Get it in one-on-one, airily. We'll have a field day, West Coast Talls, if we can get it in quick for them.
Just a little viral trend celebration Jake Waterman just did at the end of that. It's been going around at the moment, so enjoying himself. He gets his second goal. The Eagles up by 4. Ball back in the middle, though. Falls the way of the Tigers. Pickett runs outside. Handballs it off to a teammate. Kicking on goal. It's a ricocheted ball down to Barras, and all of a sudden Richmond giving the ball back to West Coast. Barras goes wide to Chesser. He's kicked further up to wing. Noah Long takes the mark. Another Eagle in a famous number 13, formerly of the former captain, now an assistant coach in Luke Shuey. Long goes up the wing. Bailey Williams flew from behind. Vlossen got a hand on it. Broad was able to give it to Miller. Now he feeds back to Vlossen, who's almost run down by Waterman. He effected the kick. It goes inside the centre square. It's thrown away. That's got to be throwing the ball. Umpire says no. And in the end, it'll be a ball up. The Eagles fans not happy. Boston did manage to get a kick away, so did hit his boot. The Eagles win the clearance. Rolling ball inside the forward 50. Beats all players. Spills into the path of Petruccelli. He's taken in a tackle by Broad and Sean. He can't get it out, but it is a stoppage. Ball up, 30 metres out from the West Coast attacking goal.
Ball centre loft. And Curtis at the back, won it down. There was somebody had a kick away against Darling beyond his defensive 50. Wanting it more was Bailey Williams. He went to ground, but then it's scooped up here. Nicely done from Campbell. Worked it on to Kajitsky. And now to Mansell. Forward of the wing for the Tigers' southern side. Martin receives the ball and marks in the right forward pocket, about 45 from goal. He won't go himself. He'll pop it up looking for Bolton. Front position Hoff. Has he been paid the mark? He has.
The work rate of the West Coast defenders to get back on their Richmond opponents was much better than the first quarter then.
Had the arms knocked after he took possession of the football, but the mark correctly paid beyond defensive 50. Bailey Williams attacks it and he marks it left half back. Wants someone to come towards him. He'll kick down the southern wing for the Eagles. Not a great kick. Nankervis, though, should have marked it, dropped it long on the deck, handed it back to Waterman. Got the arms free, popped it there to Darling. Glostone tackles him. Darling hand passes it straight to Nankervis. Not what he was hoping for. Nankervis for the Tigers. Then to Broad. Now an opportunity to build again. Chance to go forward here. Rioli looked to come on to Martin. He couldn't mark. Pressure came from Rotherham. Ball spills down. Reed dives over the top of the football. Ball up will be the call. It's been locked in just inside the outer edge of the centre square. Bridget Lacey's downstairs.
Looks like a corky for Ruben Jimby, so he looks good to come back on with some taping around that right thigh. He's been on the bike as well, but still no sign for Luke Edwards for West Coast.
Reed was trying to take it out of the stoppage for West Coast, was dispossessed, fell the way, ironically, of Dustin Martin. Now Richmond switch the ball out wide. Rioli able to take the mark in space. Kicks it towards a target inside the forward 50. Gets it to Baker on the bounce. His left foot kick nicely weighted into the pocket. The leading and waiting Shea Bolton rises up, takes the chest mark. Already has 2 goals. The former South Fremantle product. He's polled 3 votes in round 18 against West Coast last year in the Brownlow, 3 votes in round 8, and he has 2 goals already.
Fair chance to kick this too, I think.
Tight angle for Shea Bolton. We're right behind the kick. Gives himself a little bit of space. Drop punt is on the way. He's a special player, Shea Bolton. He's got 3. And Richmond regain the lead. 5-3-33 the Tigers. The Eagles 5-1-31. Back to a 2-point Tigers lead. Almost 9 minutes played second quarter here. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Mitch Turner alongside Clint Wheeldon. Special experts Sharad Wellingham and Shane Woden.
Yeah, Hoff did a wonderful job last week on Papley and was in good position. You think that he'd have a lot of confidence from that kind of game that he put in last week, but just got caught when they transitioned. They went off the line. And so he was in a great position for the most part then, and then Shea Bolton was just able to sneak out the side, catch him off guard.
Baker going to his left didn't help Hoff. Kick 3 early.
Kelly's had it 10 times for the Eagles. Miller and Baker 8 apiece for the Tigers. The Tigers through Nankervis win the tap. It's going to be locked in here immediately. Kelly, who has been busy doing the tackling, wrapped up McAuliffe. He throws it back to the umpire, who throws it aloft. Nankervis won it down again, straight to Kelly. He's going nowhere. Tackle by McAuliffe straight away. Nankervis came in to assist. So he's still in the centre circles. It's put up into the air once more. Bailey J. Williams wins it down for West Coast. Cole taps it forward. Clever to Brockman. Hand pass to Williams. Great smother, Baker. Smothered the ball from Bailey Williams. It spilled out to Dow. Now Baker again. Stabs it inside forward 50. Lafau couldn't quite mark. Pressure came from Barris. On in turn. The Eagles made a meal of that. Cole up against Witherden. Yo tries to mop it up. Taps it beyond defensive 50 to centre half. Back it came to Bailey Williams. He got it to Brockman. Bounces a kick to the outer side. That was beautifully weighted. Now a chance for Chesser. Goes short and marking inside forward 50. Cripps can go back and have a shot from right in front. He'll put boots of ball from 50 out.
Not quite sure who was the intended target.
Nope. I think it might have been supposed to go over the top of him, but anyway.
Someone who was in a position where it was a legal mark too.
Who was you rather, Cripps or Darling? Sharad, you played with both.
From this distance, you probably take Cripper. He loves a long kick.
To put the Eagles back in front. Jamie Cripps from just outside 50. It's on its way. Wasn't touched on the line. The Eagles fans behind the goal at the City end look fairly confident. The Eagles players nearby less so. We're going to send it upstairs. Soft call is a goal. And the vision that we're seeing, it's, I would say, fairly inconclusive.
Is it a West Coast player too?
Yeah, and soft call was a goal.
Soft call was a goal. It's odd that the 2 tallest Tigers standing by are actually on the other side of the goalpost. So I'm not sure whether they've just misread it or
Who's
what's
the West
happened
Coast
here.
player? I can't see if it's...
Waterman, I'd say.
Darling on.
It might be Waterman, yeah, socks down. If he's touched it, then that's it's a bit of a blue.
I'm not sure it's been touched, and I'm not sure this evidence that we're seeing can
Review
change it.
complete. Looking at these angles, we can see a gap between the ball and the goalpost at all times.
I thought it may have been touched by the post on the way through.
Well, it's not the post, it's not the hand. It is a goal. The fans were certainly confident it was. The Eagles players less so as they stayed around the area. 6-1-37 West Coast. Richmond are 5-3-33. So the Eagles take back the lead. They're up by 4 points. Bridget Lacey is downstairs.
Yeah, there's a bit going on down here. So confirmation from West Coast that Luke Edwards is undergoing a head injury assessment. We know he copped a bit of treatment in that first quarter out there on the wing, so he's getting checked out at the moment. And Richmond are just making their sub. So Tyler Sonsey coming into the game. Looks like Jaden Short is having an issue with his right leg. I'll get confirmation from Richmond on that.
So West Coast back in front by 4 points, and as Bridget Lacey reports, it looks like Jaden Short could already be out of the game for the Tigers. That's a big blow. Fairest and best winner in 2020, two-time premiership player. We'll keep an eye on as West Coast win the ball back out of the middle. Yo, long snap inside the forward 50. Petrocelli going one-on-one with Loston. Beat them both out the back. Broad has to use his pace and did well on the left. Hugged the boundary line, found Ralph Smith.
Great bit of skill there from Broad at that pace, wasn't it?
On his opposite boot, there was no margin for error. He was able to find the long flowing mullet of Hugo Ralph Smith. Kicks up the wing. Bailey Williams knocks it down to the front. Bolton trying to gain possession. He's worried out of it. By with it, it'll be a ball in right below us here in the commentary position on the wing, right in front of the West Coast bench. Both sides swing the changes. Harley Reid back into this contest for West Coast. Throw-in was very short. It landed 5 metres inside the ruckman. Reid stole it after it bounced. Then he handballed. Oh, gave it off to Rioli. He was crunched by a bump by Liam Duggan. The Eagles win it back. Kick towards half forward. Knocked away from Darling. Brockman crumbed it. Gave it to Petrocelli. Runs to 50. Kicks towards goal. The Eagles get another. They extend the margin. It's out to 10 points. 7-1-43 West Coast. Richmond 5-3-33. The Eagles had kicked 7 of the last 8 goals after Richmond kicked the first 4 of the game. 15 minutes played Sunday footy on ABC Sports. Sharad Wellingham, Shane Wowo.
I'm confused as to why that wasn't brought back to throw in. Was it because it didn't favour either of the sides, or is it potentially...
It was a horrible throw.
It's nearly hit...
5. It's probably 10 metres.
Yeah, it's nearly hit the players in the back of the head who were waiting for it to get hit by the ruckman.
Maybe because you're right, didn't advantage anyone.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, great bit of play again.
Another
Huge, clean hit from Liam Duggan on Rioli.
Oh, it was. Probably over possession the footy at stoppage, Richmond. I just need to surge it forward.
Just brings in those West Coast defenders.
The restart came out the side. Yo picked it up, tried to get his hands free. Rioli intercepted, gave it to Bolton for the Tigers. Back to Dow. He's able to work himself around, then kicks towards centre half forward. The foul work, McGovern out from underneath the football. Pickett gathers 48 out from goal. Has the chance to have a shot and misses to the right. 5-4-34 the Tigers. 7-1-43 the Eagles. 15 gone, 16 gone now in the second.
Kicked 4 goals in the first 15 minutes of play, the Tigers. Kicked just the 1 goal since. Cole's kick outside defensive 50 for West Coast comes off hands, goes out of bounds, far side of the ground for a throw in. So, yeah, 4 goals in 15 minutes, just the 1 goal this quarter. So, 1 goal in just over 30 minutes of football for the Tigers. 5-4-34 Richmond. They trail West Coast, 7-1-43. 9-point margin. Ball spun back in. Kajitsky and Jack Williams did the ruck work. Yo was clean. Gave it to Chester for West Coast. Kick up towards half forward. Darling in a wrestle. Boston came across. Couldn't mark it. Darling took the crumb. Gave it to Long. His handball inside the forward 50 to Cripps. Richmond Able to knock the ball away. Now they have some numbers running beyond defensive 50. Rioli gave it to Ralph with his kick towards Martin's. A strong mark taken by the Brownlow medalist. He gets to his feet, Dusty. Handballs off to McCall. The kick inside forward 50. It's a low spearing left foot kick, and Ralph Smith turned just in time and was able to take the mark.
Good run from Ralph Smith. He started some of that play coming through the backward of centre of the ground and marks it.
He got it in front of Hunt, who is his direct opponent on this wing.
And Hunt's not slow. No. He should have been able to keep up with him, but just, desire and work right there.
You go Ralph Smith into the side for his first game of the season for the Tigers. Kicks from 45. It's a high kick. It's fading away to the left. It's a minor score. Richmond 5-5-35. The Eagles 7-1-43. Bridget Lacey downstairs.
Both teams making their sub before halftime. Ryan Marrick's going to come into the game, so Luke Edwards must have failed his HIA downstairs, and it's a calf injury for Jaden Short, unfortunately.
So away come West Coast up the corridor. It's a Petruccelli at centre half back. To Cole coming out in the direction of Jack Williams. Couldn't mark, but at the drop, beautifully taken by Hunt. Kicks West Coast towards right half forward. Reed battling there. Was able to pick it up off the ground. Gave it to Darling. Pops it in the direction of Yo, who's come all the way up and marks it right full forward for West Coast. He's standing less than a metre inside the boundary. 25 out from his attacking goal.
There's the kick from McGovern. Right up the pipe.
Here goes Yo. Works himself around. Curls it through with a snap on the left, and he punches the air both hands in celebration. West Coast have got another. They've got their 8-1-49. Richmond are 5-5-35. The Eagles by 14 points. Normally don't give too many of these scores, but I will say that West Coast have now kicked as many goals as Melbourne City have scored against Perth Glory today. The biggest win in A-League history has gone the way of Melbourne City over the Glory. 8-0 they have just won. Whack. Goodness me. This is West Coast's biggest first half score this season, thanks to a catch photo back in the studio for that. 8-1-49. So the Tigers 5-5-35. 20 minutes gone in the second.
Been good, Elliot Yo. Great control by Harley Reid here on the boundary line with that footy.
West Coast, 8 goals in the first half. Richmond cannot find a major. Yo almost claimed another clearance. Ball was smothered. Ricocheted all the way out to the wing. Hunt accidentally socketed Richmond's way. It came the way of Graham. Kajitsky's got a defender draped all over him. Didn't get the whistle. He's furious with the umpire as Barris is tackled by Lafau over the boundary line. Kajitsky threw his arms out. He may have had an argument. And the defender draped all over him as the kick came inside the forward 50, but no whistle was blown. Ball tossed back inside the Tigers' attacking arc. Comes down to Duggan. He's taken in a tackle by Graham. Another ball up. So the Tigers, just the one goal this quarter. Came off the boot of Shea Bolton. Duggan takes it out of the stoppage, kicks it outside defensive 50. It just pitches inside the boundary line. The umpire pays sufficient intent. There was a West Coast player almost with his hand on the ball.
And Duggan has kicked it out of midair.
That's the worst insufficient intent of the season as the ball goes inside the forward 50. Hoff gets in front of Bolton, and this time it goes out of bounds off hands. Listen to the Eagles crowd. Some boos, some jeers.
Maybe. I was trying to think.
Got a feel for the game.
He tried to kick it out. No, that's just a bad call from the umpire.
Another ball tossed back inside the forward 50 for the Tigers. Comes off hands. Marlon Pickett was able to shake himself loose of the opponent. Kicks it towards the goal face. Kajitsky and Rotham in a wrestle. Rotham punches it through. Another minor score for the Tigers. 5-6-36 West Coast. 8-1-49. 13-point margin. I was just waiting for the scoreboard to update. That is the margin, Clint Wilden.
So Rotham, long beyond defensive, 50 to right half back. Miller tried to mark through his hands. Kelly read it beautifully, had it for the Eagles, hands it off to Cripps, goes surging down the commentary wing, puts it inside forward 50, one-on-one battle, Waterman outpoints his opponent in Young, turns, runs into goal, and thumps it through for his third. They are up and about West Coast, and their fans are absolutely delighted. It's been a long time since they've been able to celebrate a first half of footy like this. 9-1-55 the Eagles, 5-6-36 the Tigers, 22 gone in the second term. West Coast leaders out to a game high 19 points. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Clint Wilden alongside Mitch Turner, our experts, premiership player Sharad Wellingham, Brownlow medalist Shane Woden.
That second goal from kick-in and gone length real fast.
It was a beautiful crumb from Kelly, wasn't it? And just knew Cripps was forward of the contest. Quick hands over the top, just taking a game on, taking the ground that was in front of them.
West Coast, 6 goals this quarter. Ball back in the middle. The Tigers able to get it forward. Lafau flew from behind, couldn't take the mark over Rotham. Now Mansell able to rove it, kicks it towards the top of the goal square. Kajitsky comes out, couldn't take the mark. Baker sockers it towards goal. It's a minor score again for Richmond. 5-7-37. The Eagles 9-1-55. Kajitsky again pleading with the umpire. He's been a bit unlucky on a few occasions.
Been defended well though. Rotham's been good one-on-one.
McGovern heads to the pocket this time. Finds Duggan, who marks. Breezy day in Perth. A few clouds in the sky. No chance of rain. Nice conditions for football, though. The kick for the Eagles towards the commentary wing. Didn't quite get that far. Cripps picked it up, gave it to Reid. Hand pass was behind Cole. Chance for the Tigers here. Baker involved. McAuliffe gathered. Worked it off to Grain. It's inside 450. Great spiral. Barris diving out full stretch. Morris Rioli picks it up, though. Has it at centre half forward. Goes looking for Mansell. McGovern takes him to ground. Umpire says play on. Mansell tries to get it again. Works it there to Lafau. All on his own in the goal square. Sonsi, the substitute, marks and puts it through for a major. Was just there. Could have had a picnic. And just watching Adam Simpson on the big screen throw his hands up as if to say, how is he there? All on his own unmarked. 9-1-55 West Coast. The Tigers have got their 6th. 6-7-43. 25 gone in the second term. The Eagles leaders cut to 12 points.
The worst part about this is watching the replay now. Sonsi was on his own for 10 to 15 seconds there.
Williams should have, I know he's a ruckman, but Williams still got to fold down and take him. Just didn't swivel his head. It probably happened here on the wing. Just fundamentally from West Coast. Just missed a couple of ground balls. Reid missed the opportunity with the handball received.
Beautiful collect. Mansell. And that one-on-one from Mansell on Duggan. Just technique was flawless, wasn't it?
Those are the ones that are getting some players into trouble these days. They go in and turn the body.
But the player who's going in head first is the one not protecting themselves.
We'll find out the next few days whether the MRO agrees with it. Ball back in the middle. Jimby had a fresh area trying to soccer it off the ground. And then the ball comes out the way of McAuliffe. He can't take possession. Jimby back in there. He was tackled by Baker. Laying on top of it is Campbell Chester, the umpire. Circles for a long time, but eventually says, I'll have it and ball it up. 12-point margin. Richmond fighting their way back into this contest again. Kick towards half forward was smothered. Oh, stolen by Rioli. Burst in front of the pack. Kicks on goal on the run. Oh, it's a beautiful finish. Smooth as silk. Morris Rioli. He finally gets the major. And all of a sudden, after all the Eagles' momentum, the Tigers have cut it back to a 6-point margin. 7-7-49. They trail West Coast 9-1-55. 26 minutes played. Still plenty of time left here. Second quarter, Perth Stadium. Sunday footy on the ABC Sport.
Well, in his last 3 weeks have been exceptional, Rioli. There was a game at the G a few weeks ago where his heat was real good. I thought he's terrific against St Kilda.
His the way he makes the opposition feel the pressure, even when he's not right there, it's because they know he's coming, isn't that right? Like you just know he's around about and can close down opposition so quickly. But what he's done really well today is just the line of the ball. He's not taking a backward step and just going through every contest.
Another great bounce. Bailey Williams against Nankervis. The Tigers won it down. Still there to be one. Eventually, the umpire says, well, ball up. Long put himself over the football, was held in by Pickett. Ball up, commentary edge of the centre circles. Williams takes clean possession, kicked around the body. Petricelli couldn't mark, but was being held. Thought they wanted to take advantage here for a second, but it will have to come back. Kelly was trying to shovel it up off the deck. Petricelli wants the footy. Eventually it comes back to him just inside the attacking edge of the centre square. Hoff ran by. That was ignored. So now Petricelli will put it deep into the right forward pocket. Front position was Darling. Good spoil coming from the side by Broad. Thumping it about 3 or 4 rows back into the stands. So throw in, 35 out from the Eagles attacking goal. Reed's come off the ground. That's the applause you heard. And Yo's returned to the fray. Spun in again. And Curvis won it down. Too hot for Dow. Ball hits the deck. Rioli got it away. The Daniel variety to McAuliffe and then to Pickett. His kick was to Yo. Puts the Eagles back towards full forward. Oh, Waterman battling away against Tyler Young. And Waterman won it in a show of strength. And he can go back and have a shot from, let's say, 15, 20 metres out, but he's deep in the left forward pocket.
Picked the drop of the ball so early then, Waterman, and was able to spin around on his opponent and just really plant his legs in the right spot, wasn't it?
He's been good one-on-one. Done it a few times today, Waterman.
Looking for his fourth. Jake Waterman kicks it, snapping around the body from deep at left full forward. The Eagles push that lead back out again to 2 goals. 10-1-61 to Richmond, 7-7-49. 29 gone in the second term. Jake Waterman with a fourth.
Like the Richmond clearance, or I suppose stoppage, or kick. The stoppage presence has gotten a lot better for Richmond, I feel like, and the turnover and I suppose around the ground presence of West Coast has got a little bit better, so it's matched up on both sides. Clearances and for the quarter, there you go, Richmond 8. Sorry, Richmond 11.
Yep.
West Coast 8. So
7 straight for West Coast.
An equal career high for Jake Waterman. He's kicked forward twice before. The Eagles now will go forward again. Kelly handballs to Jimby, runs to 50, kicks on goal. Darling marks on the goal line. He'll go back with the tightest of angles. West Coast have kicked 10 goals for the first time since round 2 last year. In the first half of football, that is. The umpire is going to check it. It looked live to be a clean mark. They're just checking to see whether Darling controlled it before the line. As we see the replay, it is close. I think he has controlled it. It's not the best angle that they've shown us first, but on this one, I would say he's controlled it. So too, says the umpire. So Darling, tight on the line, just to the right of the goal. He'll have to step out and you'd think kick it on his left. Mark is confirmed. Jack Darling for goal number 2. And for the Eagles, 11th. And he finished it off. Steps around now, casually steps around, far too casually. And he misses everything. The left foot snap goes across the face, he's out on the full. He took the 2 steps out like he was on a Sunday stroll. There really was no urgency, and he's failed to score. Margin stays at 12 points.
Out of the Tigers rebuild. Miller. It's across the face of goal. It's Young. Beyond defensive 50 with the kick. Long went to ground. Pickett didn't. Gathered, but hand pass straight to Cole. Gave it to Cripps for the Eagles, then to Witherden. Hurry kick around the body. Darling battles against Broad. Broad tries to win it. Scooped up by Petricelli. From the right forward pocket. Sends it towards goal. That's through, I think. There was a despairing dive from Miller of the Tigers right on the goal line. I reckon that is a goal to Petricelli just from the naked eye. We know that they're going to check all of these. We heard that the other night. The soft call is a goal. But basically anything
Review
where there's
underway.
any doubt will be checked. We're just watching the replay. I'm not sure that the middle finger of Miller has touched that. The ball doesn't seem to change its rotation in any way. That angle's the angle we're seeing now, the Miller hand is behind the ball, so I'm not sure what that tells us. From the other angle, there might have been the slightest touch, but whoa.
A ring finger?
Yeah.
Bent? Unless he's got a bent digit.
Is that true? Is that definitive though? Like,
It's not conclusive, is it?
I'm not sure that's definitive to overturn the soft call, but we'll see in a moment.
That's fine.
You know, we need more reviews like this. I reckon we should bring in a captain's call. What do you think, Shaz?
I agree, but only in the last couple of minutes.
Nah.
You can bring it back to game.
Looking at this angle, we see a gap between the ball and the Richmond defender at all times. Decision on the scoreboard.
There it is. I'm not as certain about seeing a gap, I have to be honest.
Oh,
But
it's kind of in between frames.
it is. Nonetheless, Petricelli's got his second.
You should just ask the Richmond defender.
Oh, yes. Like Caleb Marchbank for Carlton against Melbourne.
It's the last time West Coast kicked 8 1/4.
Oh, trying to remember the
8
last
straight,
2018.
long time.
The first time they've kicked 11 in a first half since round 7, 2021 against Fremantle.
I was about to say I couldn't remember the last time they kicked 11 and a half. 11-1-67 to Richmond 7-7-49. The Tigers aren't out of this though. Don't think that for just a moment. The Eagles showed last week they could put in a good half. The question is what comes next. But nevertheless, lots alike. They lead by 18 points here at home. 33 and a bit minutes gone in the second term. We'll go through our texts at half-time. 0437 774 774.
Margin 18 points. Ball back in the middle. Still plenty of time in this first half. Oh, handball was given to Jimby. Shook the tackle of Bolton. West Coast go forward again. Darling from the side. Can't mark. Comes down to Miller for the Tigers. He's wrapped up by Waterman. He almost had it, Jack. He climbed high. Got his hands to it. He just couldn't reel it in. It'll be a ball up inside. West Coast attacking 50. Darling does the ruck work against Nankervis. Ball gets tapped out into space. Mansell coming through for Richmond. Just handballs it beyond defensive 50. Hunts the first one there, but West Coast can't gather cleanly. Kicks it out of bounds on the bounce. It is not insufficient intent or deliberate. It'll be a throw in just beyond West Coast attacking forward 50.
Put Floston on Waterman. Made the change there. He's playing on generally the high forwards, Floston. Just about roll off.
Ball spun back in, comes off hands. Kelly roves it at the back of the pack, kicked it straight into an opponent's back. It ricocheted to McIntosh. He's tackled by Jimby. Crown thought he took it on. Umpire says no prior. Ball up just outside the forward 50.
There was a pretty obvious fend-off attempt there, and then the tackle was laid, so it's almost got to be prior.
Bailey Williams won it down to Yo. Tried to burst through. Got taken high. 49 out from goal.
Enormous quarter, Elliot Yo. Been massive.
He looks fit again, Elliot Yo. Twice at best and fairest, twice an All-Australian, and then a run of injuries which certainly impacted his ability to stay fit and get fit for a season. Looks in good nick at the moment. He'll be kicking from 55 out. It's a thumping kick, but it's offline. Marek goes up, won it back down. It's on the outer edge of the goal square. Players pile around. The Eagles wanted a holding the ball decision. Tigers were able to work it out the side, but not before the officials said we'll have it back for a ball up. They thought they were away for a moment, Richmond. Nankervis takes clean possession. His kick was smothered. Ricochets back into the pack. Umpire will ball it up once more. Young throws it to the umpire. It's put off. Nankervis against Bailey Williams. One down. Umpire spots a blocking decision. It's coming back here for West Coast. Bailey Williams, who did have a big run at it, been impeded in his attempt to get to the football. And he'll have a shot at goal tighter than a 45-degree angle from the right forward pocket. He'll put boots a ball from about 25 out.
Yep, that's there.
And it was actually smart because the contest before, he feigned to go and contest the ruck and let it go, and then this one took a nice big run up at it.
1 goal, 2 for the season for Bailey Williams. It's a tight angle and he misses right. Kick was dead straight, but
He'd snapped that left foot.
Went flying past the outside edge of the right-hand goalpost. 11-2-68 the Eagles. 7-7-49 the Tigers. 37 gone in the second.
So 8 goals to 3 in this second term in favour of the home side. West Coast looking for their first win of the season. The Tigers trying to avoid going 1-5. This will be their worst start since 2016. Ball goes up the wing. Kajitsky couldn't take the mark. Got through it relatively free. Spills it. Ended up gathering it and feeding it to Baker. His tumbling kick up the wing is chopped off by McGovern. A dangerous kick back inside his defensive 50. Campbell was bearing down on Cole, but he rose high and took a strong mark. Still time for one more if West Coast wants to move it quick. Cole kicks it up the wing. Then Curvis takes the mark for Richmond. The Tigers still have time to score if they want. The seconds are ticking down. The skipper holds the ball. Now he kicks towards half-forward. Barris rises high, was pushed out of it. Umpire blows the whistle and says he was indeed pushed off the contest. Siren sounds for half-time. And the Eagles, with a dominant second quarter, they kick 8 goals to 3. They turn an 8-point deficit into a 19-point lead as they head into the main break here at Perth Stadium. The Eagles 11-2-68, Richmond 7-7-49. The Eagles on the hunt for a first win in 2024.
Second time they've led at the major change this year. West Coast, they led by 5 points against Sydney last weekend in Gather Round. 19 points, as Mitch Turner told you this time. Their goal kickers, Jake Waterman's got a career equal high 4 goals. Jack Petruccelli with a couple, and singles to Yeo, Reid, Cripps, Darling and Williams. While for Richmond, Bolton with 3, Baker, Rioli, Sonsi, who is the sub, and Lafau, single goal kickers for them. Worth noting both substitutions have been made. Ryan Marrick is on for the Eagles with Luke Edwards out through concussion. And Richmond, Jaden Short out with a calf injury. Sonsi coming on and kicking a goal. Here's the cheer for the Eagles as they come off at half-time. It's been some lean times for the West Coast supporters. They will cheer their club on at any opportunity they get. I think that might be over the top. Remember, they've won 7 of their last 58 games, West Coast. They did, though, break through in the WAFL for a win today for the first time in 28 games. They beat East Fremantle by 4 points. And we mentioned in the build-up, the last time their Waffle side won, West Coast, their AFL team won as well, beating Essendon back in 2021, was it? 2022, beg your pardon.
60 days or something, isn't it?
Yeah, June
25th.
2025.
Sharks.
It might have been. Beat South Fremantle.
They did.
In the Waffle, Essendon in the AFL.
Nonetheless, it's been a long time between drinks for them. Maybe West Coast might be able to quench their supporters' thirst for a victory in 2024 today. There is a lot still to play out, though. And we did see them get overrun against Sydney. So how will the Tigers respond at half-time? Let's get the thoughts of our experts. Brownlow medalist Shane Woden, Premiership player Sharad Wellingham. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Look, a terrific quarter by West Coast. Haven't seen that much energy for a long time, haven't we? Oh, terrific. I thought 8-1. Oh, it's an arm wrestle in terms of field position. Nearly 13 plus 2 inside 50s. Yet just capitalised better when they did go forward, 8-1 to 3-4. But taking care of their chances. I've loved what West Coast have been able to do. They've gone 6 ahead. They've pulled the 6 from stoppage, good 30 metres, and really given them one-on-one opportunities. So if West Coast are able to get through from stoppage or from turnover, they've got a good look ahead of the ball. And early at the moment, they're dominating their front half. Richmond have been probably really poor in the contest in the air, and Waterman, Darling have taken full advantage of it.
Yeah, I just love the way they've been willing to take the game on. The clear standout for mine was their contested and clearance, I suppose, presence. It wasn't like they were dominating it, but that was just where they were getting their kind of gameplay from.
Yep.
But then Richmond were able to wrestle that back, like I said, for the last probably 10 minutes. It was a bit more even either side. But then West Coast were able to bring the around-the-ground stuff, the pressure around the ground, and create some turnovers and make it a little bit more of a turnover way to goal. So both sides, I think, have been reasonably impressive, but I'm more so impressed with that West Coast have been able to bring this kind of intensity that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't see them last week over in Sydney, but this is what we were able to see on the TV. And so it's impressed me a lot. And so... At the start, I was like, oh no, here we go. We're back to what we've been able to witness over the last couple of years. But to their credit, they've dug in and really fought hard to play the way I think that they prepared to. You look at who they've got. They've got Yowie, Kelly, Reid when he's in there, and they've had some ascendancy through Bailey J as well. He's been able to get his hands probably to the higher ruck contest over Nankervis, who's trying to really dominate on the ground and drop it in nice and close.
He's a challenge for Nankervis, isn't he?
Yeah, because he likes to jump.
Yeah.
He gets that separation and then gets to... If you're getting it that, metre higher, you can get it out a bit more open and you're not relying on in tight. And we're seeing the likes of Kelly breaking away from a contest and a bit more of a dynamic look at that midfield, which has been pretty impressive.
Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head, Clint, too, with Elliot Yeo. He just looks fresher. He's got good energy. He's playing with good spirit. Covers the ground now. He had dominated that quarter. He put the team on his back and said, come with me, lads. Let's do this. And they get 12, 9 contested, 6 clearances, 6 score involvement. So that's a big quarter for a mid. And just get them some field position early.
The coaching staff at Richmond, I think, are doing a really good job with their forward structure as well. Like you said, they are a bit smaller. So what they're doing is they're actually playing quite high, which is drawing McGovern up. They're leaving Tommy Barrass back right deep, but it's not enabling them to, and they're not quick kicking it. So they're bringing it out with hands or going sideways a little bit. And so it's just not bringing McGovern intercept kind of role into the game at all, which is really smart. And you can see a number of times the Richmond forward late coming up and stalking the stoppage or whatever, and you can just see Jeremy trying to drop off that opponent, but he's in such a dangerous spot, 15, 20 metres forward of the stoppage, that he can't afford to be left on his own, whoever that opponent is. And so really big kudos to Richmond forwards and forward line coach to set that up, where I think most teams who come up against West Coast try and work out a way to separate or get some isolation from Jeremy and Tom Barrass.
Couple of text messages to go through. 0437 774 774. Tim from Wodonga. This short Richmond forward line reminds me of what they used to run with when Revolt was the tall. Could it work?
You had a key forward who could kick 60 or 70 goals minimum each year.
Helps.
Yeah, certainly does help.
Yep. Jono from Launceston. I'm watching my young fella start his umpiring journey with the under-16s in Division 1. Listening to the call. Keep up the good work, fellas. Thanks, Jono. Good luck to you, young fella. Let's not use injury as an excuse for Richmond, says Don of Freo. West Coast is doing it far tougher. Oscar Allen, Dom Sheed, Liam Ryan, Jai Cully, Rhett Bazzo, Luke Edwards, Matt Flynn and Elijah Hewitt are all out. I will grant you that they are all out. Luke Edwards coming out through concussion in this game. But I would also like to put forward the argument that Richmond are missing a couple of absolute guns. Tom Lynch down Prestia, Dylan Grimes, Jacob Hopper. We know Bolt is out. And then just chuck in with the injuries from last week. Ross out with a stretch fracture, and Taranto, who misses with a wrist injury he suffered at training during the week. I get the argument at West Coast are missing a few, but I think it's hard not to actually look at Richmond and go, there's a couple of guns.
When you're big name players and then you lose Jaden Short today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's who. You can have multiple injuries depending on, but your quality of player makes Richmond's a big difference. And Richmond are losing a lot of tools, right? And they're effectively, their 3 starting mids are not out there.
Grant's in Hobart. G'day, Grant, one of our regular listeners. Beautiful day here, enjoying the call and hoping that West Coast win. Go the Blues. Thank you, Grant. Neil from Coburg, it looks like my Roo boys will be last tonight. If so, congrats on West Coast Eagles. Just have to believe from here. And to Fiona, who's on level 5 here at the stadium, shout out to my birthday boy husband, Craig. We're hoping for an Eagles win as a birthday treat. Good on you, Fiona. Best of luck for Craig as well. But if you are a Tiger, don't go anywhere. The question mark is how will West Coast play out this second half here on Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Just repeating earlier on, Geelong by 75 over North Melbourne. And at what is now half-time here in the final game of round 5, it's West Coast by 19 points over Richmond. Plenty to come in the second half, and for the first time in a long time in our post-game, we would love to hear from you. We're bringing back Talk Back for games here in the West. The number, don't ring now, but write it down, 1300 558 222, as it is for all our Grandstand AFL sort of programs, whatever they happen to be. ABC Sport, 1300 558 222. We'd love to hear from you in the post-game. I'll give you that number more often throughout the second half. And as always, if you're a little bit shy, give us a text as well, 0437 774 774. But it is half-time with the Eagles up over the Tigers by 19 points. Let's take the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. A security guard killed in yesterday's stabbing attack at Bondi Junction in Sydney's east has been identified as Pakistani man Faraz Tahir. Joseph Hathaway Wilson has more.
Faraz Tahir arrived in Australia in December 2022 after fleeing persecution in Pakistan. He was one of the 6 victims killed in yesterday's stabbing attack at a Westfield shopping centre. President of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association, Abnan Kadir, remembers him as kind-hearted and gracious.
Always grateful of the opportunities which Australia have provided him and thinking about how he can give back to the community and the country itself.
He says Tahir had just started working at the Westfield.
He was really excited to start this profession, and yesterday was his first day.
Kadir says Tahir would have turned 31 next week.
Queensland police say the man who stabbed multiple people yesterday in Sydney's east doesn't have a criminal history in his home state. 40-year-old Queenslander Joel Couchy has been identified as the man who fatally stabbed 6 people and injured a dozen others at Westfield Bondi Junction before being shot and killed by a police officer. Queensland Police Assistant Commissioner Roger Lowe says he was diagnosed with a mental illness as a teenager and has recently been sleeping in his vehicle.
The man has never been arrested by police in Queensland, nor has he been charged with any criminal offence. He has been in contact with the police, primarily in the last 4 to 5 years. During that contact, we are aware that this individual has suffered from mental health.
New South Wales Police Minister Yasmin Catley has paid tribute to the police officer Inspector Amy Scott for bringing an end to the attack. Ms Catley says Ms Scott was full of praise for the community members who assisted her when she shot and killed the perpetrator.
She really wanted to make note of the bystanders that were around her and that assisted her. She said that they too were so courageous, but it was just a typical humble response from a great heroic police officer.
The North Melbourne Football Club's expressed its sympathies to the family of Bondi stabbing victim Ashley Good, who's the daughter of past player and board member Kerry Good. Ms Good died in hospital after yesterday's knife attacks at Westfield Bondi Junction, and her 9-month-old daughter, who was also stabbed, remains in hospital. Meanwhile, one of the dozens of people taken to hospital after being stabbed at the shopping centre in Sydney's east has been discharged. New South Wales Health says a woman's been released from Prince of Wales Hospital, with 11 others continuing to receive treatment at hospitals across Sydney. In other news, US President Joe Biden has announced a meeting of G7 leaders following Iran's strike against Israel. Our North America correspondent Barbara Miller reports.
The White House has released a statement in which President Biden condemns the attacks by Iran and its proxies on Israel in the strongest possible terms. Joe Biden says US aircraft and ballistic missile defense destroyers helped Israel take down nearly all of the incoming drones and missiles. The US president said in a call with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he reaffirmed America's ironclad commitment to Israel's security. President Biden said on Sunday local time he'll convene a meeting of G7 leaders. Barbara Miller, ABC News, Washington.
The office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Hamas has rejected the latest proposal for a deal to return Israeli hostages held in Gaza. In a statement, it says rejection of the proposal shows the leaders of Hamas doesn't want a deal and is trying to exploit tensions with Iran and bring about a regional escalation of the conflict. It says Israel will continue to pursue its objectives in Gaza with full force. NT police are calling for information after a violent home invasions in Alice Springs overnight. Police allege 3 men used an axe to smash open the front door of an East Side residence. Police say the group assaulted the home's resident and then ransacked the house and stole various items, including car keys. Police say they're interested in seeing any CCTV footage from the East Side. 3 people have been rescued after a helicopter crash in the Torres Strait off Cape York Peninsula today. The aircraft came down in shallow water near Thursday Island. The occupants have managed to escape. And the Melbourne Vixens have spoiled the Melbourne Mavericks' historic first outing in Super Netball, winning 68 goals to 61 at John Cain Arena. The Mavericks replace the now defunct Collingwood Magpies as 8th in the league. You're up to date with the very latest from ABC News.
Hello, Patrick Stack from ABC Sport Daily. If you like sport,
you're on there for 14 minutes. And in my case, on the weekend, I didn't play a lot of minutes. I was coming off the bench with sort of 2 minutes, 1 minute, 3 minutes to go.
And great conversation.
You never count Tiger out. It's one of those courses that the experience counts for a whole lot.
You will love ABC Sport Daily.
And so I think the term I used at the time was that Netball Australia waved its white flag.
ABC Sport Daily. Get it on the Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Managed to get away from Martin, arches the back, gets away from Nankervis, takes a bounce, runs towards centre half forward. Reid sends the Eagles towards Waterman, marking in front of the left hand behind post, diving backwards. That's a great mark. Waterman around the body, snaps the goal. The Eagles do hit the fronts.
Where's that run and carry? Looked like the other guy used to wear number 9, didn't it?
Knocked away from Darling. Brockman crumbed it, gave it to Petrocelli, runs the 50, kicks towards goal. The Eagles get another.
Both teams making their sub before halftime. Ryan Marrick's going to come into the game, so Luke Edwards must have failed his HIA downstairs, and it's a calf injury for Jaden Short, unfortunately.
Cripps goes surging down the commentary wing, puts it inside forward 50, one-on-one battle. Waterman outpoints his opponent in yard, turns, runs into goal, and thumps it through for his third. They are up and about West Coast.
Kick towards half forward was smothered. Oh, stolen by Rioli. Burst in front of the pack. Kicks on goal on the run. Oh, it's a beautiful finish. Smooth as silk. Morris Rioli.
Yo puts the Eagles back towards full forward. Oh, Waterman battling away against Tyler Young. And Waterman won it in a show of strength. Looking for his 4th. Jake Waterman kicks it, snapping around the body from deep at left full forward.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
We're at Perth Stadium, the final game of round 5. West Coast against Richmond, and it's the Eagles in front at halftime by 19 points. We'll go through a few more of your texts when we can. 0437 774 774 and one score in the National Rugby League to bring you up to date with the Dragons in front of the Tigers. Campbelltown, around about the hour mark there, and St George leads 16-6. The Dragons over the Tigers. Mitch Turner's got all the numbers in front of him from what's been an interesting first half. Don't rule Richmond out just yet. Can West Coast hang on for their first win of the season? Mitch, what do the other numbers tell you?
Individual stat getters from both sides for the Eagles. Leading disposals, Elliot Yeo has 17 touches, 13 of those contested. He has 9 clearances, a goal as well. A big game for Elliot Yeo. Tim Kelly has 15 touches. Jack Darling has 10 disposals to go with his goal. Liam Duggan, Jack Petrocelli with 9 apiece. For the Tigers, not a lot of the ball individually. Liam Baker leads the way with just 12 touches. Jack Graham, he has 10. Ryan Mansell with 9, Ben Miller with 9, so too Marlon Pickett. The team's stats, disposals, Richmond got off to a hot start. They were all over the Eagles early, but they've reversed it, West Coast. They lead the disposal count 158 to 147. They lead the contested possession count 73 to 62. The tackle count favouring Richmond 37 to 30. The hit-outs 27 to 15 the way of the Tigers. West Coast winning the clearances 23 to 16. The inside 50 count still favouring Richmond 27 to 25. So the key numbers split across there. The inside 50 is going Richmond's way. The clearances going West Coast way. The main stat that counts, though, is that it's a 19-point lead to the Eagles.
Some good news for both Giants and Saints fans. Stephen Cornelio has been cleared of serious injury to the knee. He's expected to miss a couple of weeks with an MCL, so there were fears he might have done an ACL, but no, just the MCL issue for the vice-captain of the Giants, Stephen Cornelio, so expected to miss a few weeks there. And good news too for the Saints with Max King cleared of a serious knee injury. Secured a statement saying, following scans this morning, Max King has been cleared of any structural damage to his knee. He has some swelling and pain consistent with a contusion to the knee. Put your teeth back in, Clint. They're hoping that Max will train this week and put his hand up for selection for Thursday night for St Kilda. So good news for 2 stars of the competition there. And I mentioned before, the Saints getting things started against the Western Bulldogs this coming Thursday. About to get the second half underway. West Coast desperate to break through for their first victory of 2024 and give their, well, in recent times, long-suffering fans something to cheer about. The Tigers will want to hit back too. The Eagles' advantage is 19 points on Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Here's Mitch Turner.
2 ruckmen away in the middle. Nankervis opposed to Bailey Williams. Nankervis won the tap down Richmond's way. Coming through was Mansell, taken strongly in a tackle. Be another ball up middle of the ground. It's Duggan laying the strong tackle for West Coast. Sole skipper today. The absence still of Oscar Allen. Ball tapped down, went off Kelly's hands. Fell to Yeo. He was slammed by Nankervis. Managed to get a handball out to Duggan. His snap towards half forward. Goes away from Darling. Rolling ball. Waterman at the back. So pokes it into space. Daniel Rioli, though, for the Tigers. His handball was a little hot for Miller. Tapped it into space. Cripps won it back for West Coast. Then Darling slapped it on the turf. Long. Trying to get it back to Darling. Tight against the boundary line. It comes to Waterman eventually. Tackled out of bounds by Ben Miller. Happy to see it go out of bounds for a boundary throw. And Jake Waterman getting a nice little bit of applause. Equal career high. 4 goals in the first half.
Ball spun back into play. Eagles attacking the Graham Farmer freeway in this quarter. To the left of our broadcast position. It bounces around. Came out to Darling. Good tackle. Nankervis got him. Takes him to ground. No pride. Ball up. Still in the left forward pocket. 11-2 plays 7-7. Eagles in front. Opening 80 seconds of the second term. Darling doing the ruck work against Nankervis. Got the tap too, did the Eagle. Cripps looked to pick it up. Rioli, one of 3 Tigers to meet him. Locking it in. And there's Baker. Inside him in Young. Bit of push and shove off the ball between Reid and Graham. Nankervis won the tap. Yeo was able to get it away though. Going to Reid. Oh, spins around in tight spaces. Drew pressure. Got a hand pass back to Kelly. Kelly snaps towards goal but misses. Waterman in the goal square against Miller. Goes past them and through for a minor score. 11-3-69 West Coast. 7-7-49 the Tigers. 2 minutes gone in the third.
Miller will bring the ball back in. Harley Reid just caught one a little late from, it was Jack Graham there. Just rubbing the top of the head as the ball's kicked out beyond defensive 50. It bounces inside the boundary, bounced on its end, straight up in the air. Lafau took it, tried to find a teammate. Was stolen by Hunt. He was tackled. Now Noah Long kicks a tumbling ball inside the forward 50 of the Eagles. Waterman tried to backstab it. Cleveland Loston trying to split through the pack. He's tackled by Jaden Hunt. Came through with pace, but the umpire said no prior opportunity as players just separated a little bit at the stoppage. The two rucks will go at it. Darling pushed out of it by Nankervis. The Richmond ruck took the kick, took it out of the air, smashed it on the boot. Duggan spilt the chest mark. Ball cleared outside defensive 50 to the wing by the Tigers. Lafau, clever tap towards Bolton. What can he do? Oh, he taps it past McGovern, then runs onto it. Couldn't gather, was worried out of it by Hoff. It was almost something special from Shea Bolton. The Eagles clear. Withering kick finds Hunt. And now he goes further up the wing in front of the interchange gates to Harley Reid. Disposal number 10 has had some moments of sheer brilliance today. This time he's called to play on. Runs his allotted distance. Kicks it high inside the forward 50. Punch from behind came from Young. Fell the way of Baker. Spun out of one tackle. Was caught in the second. Ball was knocked free. Yo picks it up. Off a step. Kicks on goal. And kicks truly. Elliot Yo's got two. The Eagles kick the opening goal of the second half. It was a terrific finish from Elliot Yo. West Coast 12-3-75. Richmond 7-7-49. A 26-point margin. No better start for the Eagles here in the second half. Mitch Turner alongside Clint Wheeldon. Our experts Sharad Wellingham and Shane Woewodin.
Unfortunately, the umpire wouldn't have seen that stray elbow. It was an accident to Baker's head. Great tackle by Long. Great contest back here with Hoff not giving up on Shea Bolton at all. Front is a big contest coming between McGovern and Bolton. Able to win the ball back at half-back, West Coast. They go back at him.
He was the one who provided that outlet kick as well too. I think it was Hunt.
Already 20 disposals and 2 goals for Elliot Yo. Nankervis won it down. Martin couldn't take it. Reid does for the Eagles and kicks them to full forward. Well marked by Miller. Read that best in a line of 4. He was at the back of the group. Hands up high. Dragged in the Sherrin. Wants someone to come towards him. Nothing immediately presents. And a short pass in the direction of Daniel Rioli. Still in the right back pocket, the Tigers. And Rioli again suggests someone needs to come to him. He'll go on a short run and then kick towards the commentary wing. Lafau up, Barris the other way, neither marked. On the deck, shoveled forward by the Tigers here through Vloston. Working it onto Mansell, Morris Rioli involved, and Witherden was able to win that ball back for the Eagles, and that's a beautiful pass. He finds Kelly, who marks just shy of left half forward. He spots Cripps all on his own inside forward 50. Markham plays on. Leading out from the corridor towards him is Waterman. He's marked it better than a 45-degree angle to the left. He'll put boot to ball from 45 metres out as he looks for what will be a career-best 5 goals.
Well, the West Coast players look about a foot taller at the moment, don't they? They just look like they're on top of the ground, confident, taking the game on. Getting some transition connection as well, which is really good.
Jake Waterman trots in. Waterman looks for his 5th. Not with that. It's out to the right-hand side. The moment it left the boot, he knew it as well. A minor score. 12-4-76 the Eagles. 7-7-49 the Tigers. 6.5 gone in the third. Kieran listening in from the lounge in WA in Mundjilup. Loving West Coast today. Thanks, Kieran, for being with us.
Glad you said that, Sam, or suburb, not myself, Clint.
Mundjilup.
That'll do. I would do no better a job as Rotham takes the intercept mark for the Eagles. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Marek from behind. Couldn't mark. Came to Darling. Brockman feeds a handball to Reid. He's almost run down. Gets a kick towards goal, but it's chopped off by Miller for the Tigers. Takes the mark and wants to move it quickly across goal to Broad, but he's got nowhere to go. The Eagles quickly setting up.
Good trap by West Coast. Got to force this one long.
Had to stop and wait. He kicks it up the boundary line. It's tight, but it's okay. To Vloston. Still unable to find a clear target. It's a long, high switching kick. It's a dangerous one. It manages to get to Tom Brown. It was almost cut off by Brockman. It hung in the air for a long time. Brown's kick up the wing, though, to no one but Rotham. He's taken in a tackle. Able to handball it forward for the Eagles. Darling comes through. He's tackled by Pickett. He's trying to get it clear. Sabetra Chally in the end. It's wrapped up at the bottom of the pack on the wing. A neutral ball slightly favouring the Eagles' attacking side. They lead by 27 points. The ball goes back up.
Bailey Williams won it down. The Tigers with a chance to emerge with it, though. McAuliffe got a hand pass out, though, straight to Chesser. He's tackled instantly. Umpire will ball it up. Dow got him. That's Chesser, not the umpire. He does throw it up into the air. One down by the Tigers. Bolton was harassed off it. Reid got taken high. They'll take the advantage. Chesser elects to play on quickly into the right forward pocket. He wanted Waterman. That's a good grab. He was at absolute full stretch. Right with him was Tyler Young. Was able to bring down the footy. He'll have a shot from about 45 metres out, but he's tight. Only a few metres in from the boundary in the right forward pocket.
Struggled airily down back, haven't they, in the D50, Richmond. It's a good decision by Chesser. Just get the play going.
Oh, was that what on the replay? Harley Reid has given the fend off to Dusty Martin. That's how he was able to emerge with it. Remarkable. In the meantime, here's Jake Waterman, who doesn't quite have the distance. Big pack up. Spills out for the Eagles. Marrick got a hand pass away to Hunt and then worked it on towards Jack Williams. Hands it off to Cole. His kick smothered. Well done by Ralph Smith. Comes back to Cole, though. Trying to lend some support. Sonti looks to soccer it forward. Ricochets away off McGovern and over for the boundary throw-in. Have another look at this on the replay. He picked it up, Reid, and just the slightest little fend off into the chest of Martin. He broke the tackle and got a hand pass away. We'll see that replay a few times this week.
Just a little baby stiff arm it was. This time from the clearance. Martin was able to tap it into the path of Baker. He couldn't take clean possession. McGovern's on hands and knees for the Eagles. Managed to find a handball on the outside in Hunt. He spins and kicks it towards half forward. Broad went back with the flight. Couldn't take the mark. Darling's fighting through. Trying to take possession, but West Coast couldn't. But he was able to force Brown over the boundary line. Boundary throw-in just outside the Eagles' forward 50. Jake Waterman's had a couple cracks at goal number 5. His brother Alec, his career best was 4. He did that twice, so a bit of bragging rights on the line. As Cole kicks it inside the forward 50 for the Eagles. Coming out is Waterman, but the boundary line beats him to it.
Getting away from clearance at the moment, Richmond at plus 11, West Coast. Good field position. Can't get past halfway at the moment.
Darling will do the ruck work opposed to Jacob Kajitsky. Kajitsky got front spot, got the tap into space though. Kelly for the Eagles is the first one there. Gave it to Yo. Snaps towards the goal face. Guess who? Jake Waterman. Leading out, takes the chest mark. This on a really tight angle. Right near the behind post, left-hand pocket. We'll have to run around and snap it.
Just playing in front, isn't he, really well? Reading it off the contest ahead of the ground really quick.
Runs around for a career best 5 goals. Here's the man. Jake Waterman kicks his 5th. The Eagles extend out to a game-high margin, 33 points. 13-4-82. The Tigers 7-7-49. 11 minutes played, third quarter here. Perth Stadium, Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Mitch Turner, Clint Wilden alongside me. Brownlow medalist Shane Woden, premiership player Sharrod Wellingham.
Yeah, he can't really see too much from the replay at the moment, but he just looks to be on the front foot, doesn't he? Reading everything nice and quick, playing in front. And then in the off chance that he is caught behind, he's able to slip and kind of get into really strong marking positions.
He's confident today.
I said his brother kicked career high 4. He did. His dad, 6 was his best for the Eagles. So not quite at
definite dinner table bragging rights coming up.
Chris will join us for a few more games later in this season as well. Dual premiership player for West Coast as Yo wins it in the middle and gave it to Jack Williams. Kicks inside forward 50. Spoil came from Miller. Waterman's out after it, though. Had 2 goes, couldn't quite pick it up. Duggan does for the Eagles at centre-half forward. Kicks inside forward 50, running with the flight and marking with the ball coming over his shoulder. It's Cripps.
Another strong kicking position for Jamie Cripps here. He likes to be able to put a lot into it, so pretty confident he can go back and have a good effort at this.
Got one today. 2018 Premiership player. There's still a few of them out there for West Coast. 6 disposals and 3 marks to go alongside a goal. He'll start in line with the right-hand goalpost. Boots cross the 50. He'll kick from 45 out. Cripps' kick is on its way. The Eagles put their lead out to 39 points. Cripps has got a second. West Coast have got their 14th. 14-4-88 to Richmond 7-7-49. We've gone 11 minutes, beg your pardon, 13 minutes into the third term. Bridget Lacey's downstairs.
Yeah, Harley Reid's on the bench at the moment. He's just got some fresh strapping on his lower left leg. Just a little cut that the doc's fixed up. He's all good to go.
Just can't get their hands on it at the moment, Richmond, can they?
Just a couple stats quickly from this game from Sir Swamp Thing on Twitter, who we love. 18-9 at half-time, the highest aggregate for any match this season so far. Sides to have kicked 8 goals in a quarter this year, Western Bulldogs and West Coast, the only 2 that have done it.
There you go.
Out of the middle was Jimby, kicked it towards half-forward. No mark taken. Rioli did well to robe the ball, runs outside half-back, takes 2 bounces, now takes 3, might run into trouble. He's almost forced out of bounds by Chesser. He managed to stay in. The ball, not so much, out on the full. And listen to the cheer from West Coast. There's a bit of push and shove. The jumpers are getting thrown around. Jimby is going at it with McIntosh. Rioli is going at it with Marrick. While all that is happening, the ball goes up the line. It's punched away from Waterman. Marrick and Daniel Rioli really wanted to go on with it. So too Jimby and McIntosh. They finally separated. Marrick and McIntosh have one last crack at each other. After all of that, the ball will be tossed in. Just forward of centre wing for the Eagles. Kajitsky tapped it into space. It was stolen by Chesser. His kick smothered by Bolton. It ricocheted back to him though. Then gave the hands to Tim Kelly. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Eagles player held, yes. Umpire saw it. Waterman goes down, but he'll win the free kick. Just like that, Jake Waterman will go back and have a chance at a new career high, 6 goals.
And clearance. Definitely enjoying himself today, Jakey Waterman.
Having a field day.
Taken to ground, Jake Waterman. This, a fairly simple set shot. He's kick from about 30 metres out, slight angle to the left, almost a 45-degree angle to give the Eagles a 45-point lead for their 15th goal. For Jake Waterman, 6, straight through the middle, and it's 6 times 6 for Jake Waterman. The Eagles 15-4-94. They are all over the Tigers, 7-7-49. It's a 45-point margin. 16 minutes played in the third quarter. Win number 1 could be coming.
I'll tell you what, I'm pretty sure that the West Coast coaching committee or panel will be pretty happy that Jeremy McGovern and Tom Barrass aren't having to be their best players. I was thinking to myself, I haven't heard the boys call their name too often, but just hasn't been down there. They haven't had to be part of it. It's been in the forward 50 for West Coast. It's been a great effort, and it's good to see them enjoying it. It's been a long time between drinks, so it's good to see them enjoying it.
West Coast haven't kicked 100 points since round 2 last year. They win against the Giants. They're 6 shy at the moment. The Tigers, though, still plenty to play for as Graham gets the clearance and he kicks towards centre-half forward, and that's a strong mark. Rothen just allowed Kajitsky to get away from him. Kajitsky diving forward, marks 52 out from goal. He'll stand on the attacking edge of the centre square. He'll put it into the right forward pocket. He wanted Bolton. Bolton saw it go over his head. There was too much on the kick. Will tumble across the line for a throw-in. Shea Bolton was terrific early on. 3 goals to light this game up. But since that point in time, West Coast have had absolute control. Thrown back in. Vancouver's against Jack Williams. Comes out to Jinby. Worked it out to Marek, who was able to get it to Reid, who was immediately tackled. Got taken by 2 Tigers.
They've been started to supply, Bolton and Martin, who play predominantly forward now. More midfield time given to their younger players.
Right half forward for the Tigers, where it's thrown aloft. Vancouver's with the more telling tap. Here's Reid emerging with it. He takes a bounce. Gets a hand pass to Marek. Bounces off McIntosh. Reid on the way through to Yeo. Hand pass over the top again. Umpires spotted a free kick. Being dealt with after he got rid of it was Yeo. So it'll be downfield to be taken here by the Eagles. It'll be Reid, because he's the nearest player to it, has to go and gather it over the boundary line and then trot back into position. He stands in front of the interchange gates for West Coast. The Eagles lead, 18 gone in the third. They're up by 45 points over the Tigers.
Reid sends it back in the Waterman direction. Williams, his teammate, got a hand in before it. It falls down to Boston, then to Broad. Richmond trying to work it out of defence. Rioli dances on the spot, decides to retreat by hand to Broad. His kick outside defensive 50, too hot for Kajitsky. Goes off hands. Cole has it for West Coast, kicks it towards half forward. Noah Long takes it right on the paint. 55 from home. Kick is beyond him, so he sends it inside the forward 50. Darling! Strong hands, takes the mark. And the Eagles are just all over the Tigers at the moment. Richmond have no answer. Darling will go back for goal number 2.
Yes, it's a strong set of hands, but he does have... Darling's got his Richmond opponent all over him there and just isn't able to impact that contest at all. Hey?
No, haven't been able to get the ball to ground, Richmond defenders.
As Clint Wilden said, 25 games straight without reaching the 100-point mark. Darling's kick is on the way and it won't even make the distance. It's marked on the goal line. The umpires will come together and double check whether it crossed the line before. And look down there, Broad juggled it. It was a one-handed grab. Whether he had full possession or not.
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball's crossed the back of the behind line before being marked. Decision on the scoreboard.
There you go. So he does register a score, Jack Darling. So the Eagles will go 15-5, 95. Tigers 7-7, 49, 20 minutes played, third quarter. Clint Wilden, Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Plenty of time to change over when there's so many scores.
Good to be with us wherever you are. ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, the ABC Listen app. Plenty of places to hear us. Tigers go straight up the corridor with the kick in. And no mark taken with it and gathered. Shrugged a tackle and then sends it straight back down the throat of Miller, who marks defensively for Richmond. Short pass to Baker. Kicks beyond defensive 50. Ooh, up against the boundary line. Seth Campbell just able to mark that. Through the hands, though, his kick was with Boston. Spilled out to Baker, tackled by Jinby. Umpire will ball that up with no opportunity to get rid of it. It's at left half forward for West Coast. Throwing aloft again. Nankervis tapped it down, but it's straight to Reid. Oh, he shrugs off the tackle of Baker. Goes bursting through, draws an opponent. Hand passes to Yeo. He can't break the tackle.
That's a confidence.
Oh, he's a remarkable at 18 years of age. By the way, it was Dow who took Yeo across the boundary line for that throw-in. But just to gather, to break a tackle of Baker, to take on Nankervis, to shrug him away and keep going. Harley Reid, goodness me.
Up to 16 disposals, Harley Reid. Jack Williams for West Coast kicks it inside the forward 50. Comes off hands. Marek will be the first there for the Eagles. Handballs back to Chesser. Tackled by Pickett. Taken to ground. The crowd wanted a free kick, but Chesser was dropping down to evade the Pickett tackles. The umpire said that's okay. It'll be a ball up inside the Eagles forward 50. Darling and Nankervis to do the ruck work. Darling pushed Nankervis off it. Couldn't take clean possession. Cripps spilt it. The Nankervis' kick is smothered out of bounds. The umpire, though, has found a free kick. It's going West Coast way.
It looks like it's going to Jamie Cripps.
Looks like it is going to Jamie Cripps. So, wait to see the replay on the exact call it was. Here we go.
I just lingered the tackle after Jamie had disposed of it.
I would argue that he didn't dispose of it legally. However, the tackle did linger, so it's a free kick. So as we said, can the Eagles...
That's what I sometimes don't get when they say knocked free in the contest or something. It's like, well, it's kind of holding the ball then, isn't it?
The result is a Jamie Cripps set shot. He pulls it to the left. It's across the face. Marek from behind couldn't mark. Coming through his hunt for the Eagles. He's tackled over the line. Tries to get a boot on it. He almost pulled off the miraculous, but it's rushed through off hands. It's another minus score. 15-6-96 West Coast. 7-7-49 Richmond. Still over 5 minutes left to play in this third quarter here at Perth Stadium.
Boston with the ball in hand. Troubled by the setting sun. He's looking right into it as it disappears behind the stands at the city end of the ground. He elects to go into the shadows short. Finds Rioli with the mouthguard sticking out at the moment. Kicks short again. This is Ralph Smith, one of the two inclusions this week. The other, of course, Baker returning to the side. Ralph Smith with a mullet to absolutely envy. Kicks towards the wing. Big pack up, off hands, spill down to Dow. Got it to Mansell, now to Baker from the logo. Wobbles a kick towards centre half forward. Sonsi got away. Needs to get some separation on Cole. He marks and plays on quickly into the right forward pocket. Bolton marks. Tighter than a 45-degree angle. He won't have a shot on goal. He can just dab it inboard and find Martin.
For the first time in the game, they've had confidence to go long. An aerial contest from their tools, bring it to ground and get out the back.
Dustin Martin without a goal today. Looking to end a run that's gone more than half an hour. Goalless for the Tigers. Martin's able to steer it through. They'll celebrate that. Just though they're 8th. 8-7-55. That's Richmond to 15-6-96. That goal coming at the 25-minute mark of the third. Their previous or most recent one before that, right back at the 26-minute mark of the second. So with about 5 minutes to play until three-quarter time, West Coast to 15-6-96. The Tigers 8-7-55. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Our experts, Brownlow medalist Shane Woden, premiership player Sharad Wellingham.
Only their second inside 50 for the quarter. That's 17-2 in favour of West Coast. So just dominated field position in this term. Played in their front half.
So Dustin Martin hits the scoreboard on an understatement to say it's a badly needed goal for Richmond. The bounce back in the middle of the ground is wayward, so the umpire will call it back. It will go again. Players reset. Nankervis, V. Bailey, Williams. Ball tossed up this time. Williams jumped underneath it. Nankervis took it out of the air, kicks it forward. Only travels about 15-20 metres. Off hands, Harley Reid. Handball out to space. Got it to Chesser. He gave it to Kelly. Back to Harley Reid for West Coast. Handball out wide to Duggan. Reid's taken off the ball. Eagles play on, go forward. Duggan's kick towards the attacking 50. Players can't see it in the sun. Goes through hands. Diving in is Loston. There'll be a ball up at half forward. Didn't see if the whistle was blown then. There's Reid and Mansell got tangled up, but it was play on. Ball off hands out of the contest. Came to Baker. Gave it to Bolton for the Tigers. Now shares it with Dow. Back to Bolton. Handball up to Baker. The Tigers working it through hands up the field. It's not convincing. McAuliffe, he tried to get it to Martin. It was chopped off. The Eagles win it back. Harley Reid gives it to Petruccelli. Kick towards half forward is marked by Marek.
Marek been in fringe for a while. Eventually he gets up. The umpire says go back and take your kick. He'll move it short to Reid. Not far enough to be a mark. He's tackled by McAuliffe. He got a hand pass away though. Cole bursts onto it, sends it towards goal and kicks it. And you won't be surprised.
Coley doesn't look very convinced
that we're going to send this upstairs.
He would celebrate too.
The umpire's call was touched on the way through. Has it hit the post? That's the question.
The ball crosses the line on the behind side of the goal post.
No, it's the wrong side.
It's the wrong side.
Yeah, He knew straight away.
How did the umpire not?
Yeah. Get into a position where you can.
I wasn't 100% sure myself, to be honest. The Eagles lead us 42.
Not on the goal line.
No. 15-7-97 to Richmond, 8-7-55. That's a fair point. What have we gone? 27 minutes into the third.
Broad brings the ball back into play for the Tigers. He finds Ralph Smith. Every player on the ground seemed to know because they all immediately set up in the kick-out zone, but double check from the goal umpire. Ralph Smith goes beyond defensive 50 to the wing. McIntosh got it out to Kajitsky. He's tackled by the smaller man in Jack Petruccelli over the boundary line.
I'm still baffled how goal umpires don't move to one goalpost and look behind it rather than just stand side on.
Yep, he was on the other side of the goal line, looking back down on the wrong angle, really, the goal umpire, as the ball tossed back in. Reid again breaks away from the stoppage, was able to get a handball to Long, gave it to the run of Cole again. His kick inside forward 50 finds Brockman. He had to fight against the sun, but he had the space. Was able to take the uncontested mark in the end. He'll go back and kick from about 45 metres out, 45-degree angle to the right.
A big call of the kid.
Yeah, he's just so dynamic and
drives his
influential.
leg at stoppage,
Yeah, makes stuff happen at the stoppage.
Tyler Brockman back into the side after a week out through concussion protocols. As the bright green boots on, kicks, makes nice connection, but it is away to the left high, and it'll be a minus score. So a few behinds in a row for West Coast. 15-8-98. The Tigers 8-7-55. 43-point margin here late in the third.
Match review details are through. We'll give them to you at three-quarter time. As Broad with the kicking goes short to Voston in the sunshine in the left back pocket. Turns and sends it back to Miller, standing at full-back. They'll bring it towards the commentary side of the ground. And McIntosh, who marks and plays on. Kicks from right half-back down towards centre wing. 2-on-2 battle. Well done. Kajitsky won it down. Mansell gets a hand pass forward. Kajitsky just slaps it. Oh, Bolton, can he run onto it? He can. Under pressure from Petruccelli. Kicked around the body. Lafau marks it right full forward. It was nicely worked by the Tigers. A couple of times it could have come undone.
Good win here on centre wing, just a slap on from Kaczynski. Just get the ball chaos position. Bolton runs onto it.
Miguelty Lafau kicked the opening goal. Seems a long time ago, and this is smashing into the right-hand goalpost as he looks to go with a banana up the outside of the right boot. Still wobbling the goalpost. 15-8-98 West Coast, 8-8-56 the Tigers, who've gone past the half an hour mark in the third. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Here's Mitch Turner.
Witherden receives the kick out, left back pocket. Now have to move it on. There's a pack forming on the wing of the big players. It goes in that direction from behind. Bailey Williams flew, couldn't take the mark. Ball came to ground. Noah Long was just smashed off it by McIntosh. The umpire said he did so illegally. So the mismatch in size, Noah Long comes up with the free kick. Seconds ticking down in the third. The Eagles hold a 42-point advantage. Richmond kicked just 4 goals since quarter time. The Eagles have kicked 12. McGovern now has it, just backward off the wing. Eventually kicks it high up and under. Big pack is forming. Ralph Smith at the back, can't mark. Tap forward by Young into space. Coming through again is Long. He's taken in a tackle as the siren sounds to end the third quarter. The Eagles fans continue to cheer. It's been a while since they've had a lot to cheer about. But their side holds a 42-point lead. West Coast 15-8-98. Richmond 8-8-56. 1 quarter left to play here in round 5 action of the AFL.
Let's have a look at the goal kickers for the Eagles. Career high 6 for Jake Waterman, equaling his dad's career high of 6 as well. Chris, the dual premiership player for West Coast. 2 to Elliot Yeo, 2 to Jamie Cripps, 2 to Jack Petruccelli, and singles to Harley Reid, who is having a day out, Jack Darling and Jack Williams. While for Richmond, 3 to Bolton, singles to Martin, Baker, Rioli, Sonsi and Lafau. Three-quarter time, it's the Eagles 15-8-98 to the Tigers 8-8-56. Earlier today, Geelong by 75 points over North Melbourne. Be back with more in just a moment, including running through the MRO has handed down his findings. We'll find out all about that in just a moment. But West Coast lead with a quarter to play. For the first time at three-quarter time in 2024, they're up by 42 points over Richmond. Wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and streaming on the ABC Listen app, this is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
So, what makes us Australian?
Just be whoever you want to be.
And who's the obvious person to ask how that's transforming?
Welcome to Broken Hill, Miriam.
I'm on a quest to learn what it takes to change and adapt.
Occupation. I'm actually an escort.
An influencer.
Miriam Margolyes, Impossibly Australian. Tuesday nights on ABC TV or stream the full season now. Always free, always entertaining on ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Fell the way of Baker. Spun out of one tackle, was caught in the second. Ball was knocked free. Yo picks it up, off a step, kicks on goal. And kicks truly. Elliot Yo's got two. The Eagles kick the opening goal in the second half. Gave it to Yo. Snaps towards the goal face. Guess who? Jake Waterman, leading out, takes the chest mark, runs around for a career best 5 goals. Here's the man. Jake Waterman kicks his fifth. To Tim Kelly, kicks it inside the forward 50. Eagles player held, yes. Umpire saw it. Waterman goes down, but he'll win the free kick. Just like that, Jake Waterman will go back and have a chance at a new career high 6 goals. Their 15th goal for Jake Waterman, 6. Straight through the middle. And it's 6 times 6 for Jake Waterman.
Into the right forward pocket, Bolton marks. Sighted at a 45-degree angle. He won't have a shot on goal. He can just dab it inboard and find Martin. Looking to end this run that's gone more than half an hour. Goalless for the Tigers. Martin's able to steer it through.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
West Coast have kicked 100 points or more in just 2 games in the last 2 seasons. They're 2 points shy of that mark now, and they have a very impressive lead over Richmond that have 42 points at three-quarter time. The MRO has handed down his findings. There's only been one sanction that is a suspension, and that is for Matt Crouch of Adelaide for forceful front-on contact against Jack Carroll of Carlton in the fourth quarter, assessed as careless conduct, medium and high. He's been offered a one-match ban, Matt Crouch. Jordan Dawson for that tackle on Oliver Holland's rough conduct is the offence in the second quarter. Just a fine for careless, low and high, so a sanction of just under $4,000. Port Adelaide, Brandon Zirk-Thatcher has been offered a fine for rough conduct on Jai Amos in the fourth quarter. Intentional low and body. And the one we all wondered about, Butters is okay. No case to answer for that collision he had with Bailey Banfield when they were both going for the ball late in the game. So that was some interest, I know, but he's okay as far as the MRO is concerned. Thoughts, gentlemen, on this game? West Coast by 42 points. Shane Woden, Sharad Wellingham on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Oh, it's all West Coast that quarter for me. Just completely dominated the game.
The clearance and inside 50 stat is what was pretty remarkable from where we've seen West Coast over the last 2 years to put in something like that. They should be pretty happy. I hope that they keep their head down and really focus on, not just winning the game, but winning the last quarter as well.
Yeah, it's been Richmond's Achilles heel this year, just to be able to sustain the effort over a four-quarter period. They let themselves down in that quarter. -10 in clearance, -18 in contested footy, -16 in ground ball just in the quarter. And the ball spent its entirety in West Coast's front half, and they were able to capitalise.
Yeah. Jake Waterman, 8 marks inside forward 50 to go with 5 goals is an amazing game. Can he kick a couple?
Yeah, it'd be nice for a couple more. Kick 8 with a big bag.
On the text line, 0437 774 774. The haircut's similar. Liam says, Waterman is the next G-Train. He's great to watch. Remember that. Fraser Gehrig, both with West Coast and St Kilda.
An angry man in the field, wasn't he?
He was.
Oh, yeah.
Riley from Launceston, I'm heading home from umpiring. Loving the call. Go the Eagles. It would take something for Richmond to get back into this. Let's get the final term underway. Nankervis wins it down for the Tigers. They were merging with the footy through a pack. Kelly got a hand pass out, gave it to Reid. Stood up in the Bolton tackle, got a hand pass back to Bailey Williams. Kicks inside forward 50. No mark taken. Boston was able to get a hand on it, brought it to ground. Rioli was taken high. Tackled by both Long and Yo. Rioli gets the free kick inside his defensive 50.
Rioli goes short, finds a target in Tom Brown. I will say Fraser Gehrig doesn't have sauce on his pies at the footy, much like Clint Wheeldon as the Bulls kick beyond defensive 50. Jayden Hunt had a couple of grabs at it, paid the mark. So West Coast have a chance to send it back inside forward 50 again to a dangerous spot. Kicks it high, coming from the side. Kelly couldn't mark for the Eagles. Coming through, taken strongly in a tackle was Long.
Strange situation seeing Tim Kelly going for a back mark in the forward 50, wasn't it?
I had to adjust my eyes for just a moment. Darling through the pack, got a handball out, was trying to find Cripps, eventually got it to him. Cripps handball straight to Bolton though. Chomps it off, runs himself in and out of trouble. Gives it to Miller. His kick outside defensive 50. Finds the target in Ralph Smith. So eventually called to go. The impatient Eagles crowd were calling before the umpire. The kick is up the wing. The whistle is blown. There is a free kick and it's going the way of McGovern. Tom Barras looks a little sore just next to this contest. He's walking away very, very gingerly. It's one to keep an eye on. I'm sure Bridget Lacey will do that. He quickly got into a sprint as he led for the ball. Didn't get it though because the man of the moment, Jake Waterman, has come up to the wing to take the mark. Wheels and goes. 6 goals next to his name. This time he kicks it inside the forward 50. Williams can't take the mark. It falls on the chest of Nankervis. Richmond captain reading it best. Takes the intercept mark. Handball to Rioli. Runs, kicks it back up the wing. This time Kajitsky was able to get a hand in. Knocks it away from McGovern. Graham came through, picks up the loose ball, kicks it to Lafau. He takes the mark. Inside the attacking 50. 35, 40 metres out, directly in front. Lafau will go back and have the chance to kick his second. Give Richmond potentially their 9th goal to cut the margin back.
Hasn't been many opportunities today where Richmond, when they do go long down the line, can win that contest to get through and get it out the back to a one-on-one. For the second time today where they get that now.
Lafau, kick on goal. Umpire does not move. No review required there. Straight over the goal umpire's hat. Lafau gets his second. Richmond get their 10th. Or their 9th, sorry. 9-8-62. Margin is 36 points now. The Eagles are 15-8-98. So a straight 6-goal margin. 3 minutes played, 4th quarter here. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Our experts, Sharad Wellingham, Shane Wowoden.
Yeah, just a couple of instances there where 50-50 ball went the way of Richmond, didn't it?
Yep.
The contest involving McGovern and Kajitsky, I think it was. Kajitsky just gets that fingertip in there and then it goes to ground and then there's a ground ball that Richmond come away with. So, yeah, you're exactly right.
It's a good ground ball by Graham. Full flight.
First goal on the final term goes the way of the Tigers. Bailey Williams wins it down to Bolton, who then gets a free kick with Bailey Williams taking him high over the shoulder. He bounces up and goes on a short run. Kicks in the direction of Baker. Couldn't mark through his hands. Bursting through after gathering the footy. Kelly for West Coast. He wanted Waterman getting in front. Broad. Waterman follows up with a tackle. Wraps him up. The ball spills free. And there's a push here in the back that will go against Broad. Eagles fans won't like it. They'll make their feelings known as they do so well at Perth Stadium. He's coming here to Baker and takes the free kick and goes to Bolton. Moves it short to Ralph Smith. Goes down the line to Martin, just in the sunshine as the shadows work their way across the ground. Richmond kicking to the Farmer Freeway end, the left of our broadcast position in this term. Kick goes inside the forward 50. No mark taken. Here's Lafau again, tries to take on Duggan. Just shrugs him off. Throws ball to boot, kicks up into the air. It'll bounce through for a minor score. Maurice Rioli is out after it under pressure from Hunt. Out of bounds on the full, actually.
Beast Lafau, isn't he? He bulldozes players.
It's going to be a free kick here for West Coast. They'll have it in the left back pocket. 15-8 plays 9-8. 5 gone in the last.
Witherden late into the side today for Callum Jamieson, who was withdrawn with a hamstring injury. He kicks it outside defensive 50. There was a pack that formed. The umpire blew a whistle. He's pointing at, it seems to be Jack Williams for West Coast, and Eagles fans with a small cheer as they win the free kick. Williams handballs to Duggan, kicks up the wing to Petrocelli. Now I'm not sure what they're jeering or complaining about as the ball goes inside to Duggan. They're certainly making a lot of noise today, West Coast. They have a 36-point lead their side.
They don't ask him to go because he was free.
So Petrocelli receives it back from Duggan. This time he certainly cannot go. He's got Shea Bolton manning the mark. Kick up towards half forward. Williams flew early, got a hand to it. Pickett couldn't take it for the Tigers at ground level, and Darling's happy to see the ball just roll over the line. It'll have to be tossed back in as the crowd goes up on the screen. 47,665 Eagles fans here. Right now they're watching their side hold a 36-point lead in the fourth term.
Ball back into play. Now, Williams got the touch, and West Coast will also get the free kick. We'll come back to Williams here.
It's 12-4 the free kick count in the way of West Coast.
Bailey Williams for West Coast towards the left forward pocket. Take the mark. It's off hands and over for a boundary throw-in.
It's not really a game of footy, is it?
No. I reckon if you're in blue and gold here, you won't care too much, though, Wowie. You'll be happy just to see the 4 points banked for first time in a long time.
Interesting, the Richmond presser afterwards. See what happens.
Adamuzo have a bit to say as they go beyond defensive 50 with a clearing kick that goes out towards right half back, and they've spotted a free kick here. It'll come the way of Kajitsky. He's got it at right half back. Not a great kick, bounced in front of Pickett despite his best efforts. He was able to gather. Hand pass to Graham, hand pass straight into traffic. Baker couldn't take it cleanly first time. Almost threw it over his shoulder, then punched forward by Duggan. Goodness me, that was a straight hit. Gathered there nicely by Kelly. Tries to go into the left forward pocket. Mopped up though by Brown. Goes beyond his defensive 50 for the Tigers. Ralph Smith can't mark. It comes to Kelly again. Heads in the direction of Darling. Spoil came from broad behind him. Spilled out to Rioli. Broke the Duggan tackle. Rioli kicks beyond defensive 50 to Pickett, who marks just forward of right half back.
Richmond have numbers. The overlap run came from Bolton. Takes one bounce, then a second. Runs a long way, takes a little third. Handballs inside, uses a teammate in Martin. He stops on a dime, kicks it back inside the middle of the 50. Kajitsky ran into his own teammate, pulls the way of Campbell. He snaps around the body and he bends it too far. Minus score for Richmond. It wasn't clinical. They certainly made a bit of a meal of it at the end. They get the minus score. 9-9-63 the Tigers, 15-8-98 the Eagles.
So Dusty had to roll back on his left comeback corridor. Just open the field up for his teammates.
McGovern with the kick in. Goes long. Oh, Waterman!
This has been good.
Came at that from a long way back, Waterman. Big mark. Right half back for West Coast. Decides to go back inside defensive 50. He's got up, looks a little bit sore after that mark too. Problem with the right leg. Perhaps. Not moving smoothly at all as West Coast went back again. This is Rothen, who then marks and then sends it beyond defensive 50. Waterman's involved immediately. Can't mark though. Spills down Hoff. Hand passes away to Duggan. Threw it on the boot. Bounced off Floston. Knocked back inboard by Brockman. Petrocelli was there. Strong. Embraced the contact. They've got a Ball away towards Reed. Takes a bounce. Oh, big don't argue. Shrugged Miller away. Was able to survive the high shot that came his way from Maurice Rioli. He gets the free kick anyway, Harley Reid. And goes short to Jinby, who marks between centre wing and right half forward. The Eagles' lead remains a very useful 35 points.
Jinby plays on. Sends the left slipper into the ball, kicks it towards the target in Darling and Williams. Can't take the mark. Ralph Smith knocks it out only as far as Hunt. Kicks back towards the hot spot. Bolton can't mark. Williams to West Coast. Handball to Chesser. Runs into an open goal. And after 25 straight games without scoring 100 points, it looks like if the score review goes their way, that the Eagles will take off the helmet and raise the bat for 3 figures. But we wait. The crowd are enjoying it.
Complete. Looking at this angle, we see a gap between the ball and the West Coast player at all times. Decision on the scoreboard.
Nothing like a score review to just dampen the moment for the fans.
I just love the anticipation of knowing the real answer.
Goal is confirmed, and as I say, for the first time since round 2 last year, the West Coast Eagles have hit triple figures on the scoreboard. They are 16-8-104, Richmond at 9-9-63. The margin is 41, and Campbell Chesser gets himself on the scoreboard, his second career goal in game 19.
Good contest. Landed on his feet like a cat and bopped up after Bailey J with the crumb. The ruckman coming through with the crumb at the top of the goal square.
Tim Kelly's shoulder shrug allows that footy to go through. Been better today, Campbell Chesser.
Yeah, I think last week he was a little bit rushed in his possession, but looks a bit more composed today.
Bailey Williams wins it down from the restart. Yo sold a bit of candy and then kicks the ball towards centre half forward. It's off hands. Jinby at the drop, tried to hand pass it forward, had to just knock it forward in the end. McIntosh lost his footing. Hand pass from Brockman, gave it back to Kelly, who shoots on goal. Bounces across the face. It's gone out for a throw-in. Right up against the right hand behind post. Applause is for Bailey J. Williams. The Eagles ruck. Placed by Jack Williams. Thrown back in. Darling won it down. Kelly was able to gather, was tackled by Voston, gave it back to Petruccelli, threw it on the boot. Marked by Miller, who decides to play on. Not far off to be a mark, he was reasoning. Found it towards Bolton. Was trying beyond defensive 50. And there's a free kick spotted here. It's coming the way of West Coast.
Holding the ball.
Jaden Hunt did well. He's able to wrap up his opponent in Campbell. Jaden Hunt's got it at right half forward.
Bring out the barrel, Jaden Hunt.
That was a great kick. That was that not Darwin?
I think it was in Darwin, yeah.
Monster talk.
Chance for Hunt here. More traditional drop punt. He kicks it towards goal off the hands of Williams. Oh, Darling! Almost had it. Tried to just guide it onto his boot. He threw it down onto his boot and then just couldn't make the connection he wanted. So through for a minor score. 16-9-105, 9-9-63. Eagles over the Tigers, 13 gone in the last.
Richmond move the ball across their defensive 50. Gloston handballs over the top. So Miller ends up with Tom Brown. He's pushed as he kicks. Chopped off on the wing by Duggan. The Eagles skipper sends it back inside the forward 50. Going back is Marrick. Couldn't quite get to the drop of the ball. Broad takes it. Marrick takes him. Incredible effort for Ryan Marrick just to get up for this week. At one stage there was severe concerns after he copped a massive knock last week against the Swans. He's out there today though. Ball off hands from the ruck contest. Almost socket something special off the ground, but it goes through for another minor score. 16-10, 106 West Coast, 9-9-63 Richmond. 43-point margin, fourth quarter, 14 minutes played.
Boston short up the corridor to Baker. Certainly someone that both WA clubs would be interested in. We'll talk that Fremantle are closely watching his future at the Tigers. Goes to Vlosten, beyond defensive 50 to Ralph Smith. Looks to go short, but then stolen away. He wanted McAuliffe. Kelly got it, and then steps inside Ralph Smith. Kicks at goal, misses. Oh, the dodge deserved more from Tim Kelly. Through for a minor score.
Very good again today, Tim Kelly.
Last year's best and fairest for the Eagles. 16-11 plays 9-9. 15 gone in the fourth. The Eagles lead is 44 points.
Broad's kick out from defence was an absolute wobbler, but it fell to Tom Brown, who's normally good by foot. He's turned a couple over. He does so again. Tim Kelly kicks inside the forward 50. Was too high for Cripps. Now comes to Brown again. What can he do this time? He finds the lead of Dustin Martin on the chest, who has had a goal today, but just quiet. This will be disposed number 12. Has spent a lot of his time in the forward half. The champion from Richmond kicks it up the line. Barris in front. Oh, he couldn't take the mark. Hit the deck hard. It's rowed by the Tigers. Handball goes out in front of Sonzi. Has to deal with Cole. He's caught in a tackle. Umpire said he just slipped and got in high in the first contact. So Sonzi free kick. He goes inboard. Finds it teammate in Dow. Wasn't 15 according to the crowd. The umpire was happy with it though. So Thompson Dow will now kick it back to Sonzi. Just beyond attacking 50. He's about 65 from home. Tucked up on the boundary beyond right half forward. He kicks it high towards the hot spot, and coming out has been one of the sole shining lights today in Lafau, who's presented well. He's kicked 2 goals. Will go back and have the chance from the set shot to kick his third.
He's kicked a couple, but he's just been so strong in contest as well, hasn't he?
He's a good find.
Game
Third
4.
tall, powerful unit.
He's having to play out of his weight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, out of his size at the moment.
Already has 2 goals today. The set shot has kicked them well, and this one is no difference. He celebrates pretty hard as he gets a third goal.
Great technique.
He gets Richmond's 10th. 10-9, 69 the Tigers. West Coast 16-11, 107. The margin is still 38 points. He was happy with the goal. I'm fairly sure that'd be a career high for him, which is why he's happy.
Had 3 goals coming into this game for the player born in Auckland. Picked up in the pre-season supplemental of 2023, 25 years of age.
It's not the first Tiger with some New Zealand blood to
No.
show up and make an impact.
The other bloke was pretty good pedigree.
I can see Sharon looking at me in confusion. He's the guy that won a Brownlow and 3 Norm Smiths.
Bounce to restart. And Curvis won it down. Jimmy couldn't take it. Good attack on the football from Long up against Baker. Ball came out the side. Duggan, did really well. Weaved his way through a number of Tigers and then kicks it inside forward 50. He wanted Darling. Spoil came at the back. Young got a fish to it, tracking it towards the boundary line. Marrick. It's gone over. Broad was there, so too Cripps. Boundary line beat them both. Throwing in the right forward pocket for West Coast. 16-11, 107. That's the Eagles. 10-9, 69 the Tigers. We're heading towards time on in the final turn. Nankervis got a fish to it, won it down to Vlosten. Tackled by Yeo immediately. Ball jarred free. Umpire says it's going to be a free kick. Going the way out of all of this of the Tigers. And then Yeo's given away 50 as well. I think for shoving Vlosten into the ground after all of that.
Obviously the replay.
Had his arms pinned.
Is it illegal to shove someone into the ground?
I think it's one of those ones the umpire just deems it's absolutely unnecessary after you've given away the free kick the first time.
But there's no rule against doing something that's unnecessary.
You can always, the catch all rough conduct, you've shoved someone you didn't need to.
Kick goes inside the forward 50, flying from behind. Barris couldn't get a fist on it, fell to the back. Hoff was able to gather for West Coast, gave it to Witherden. Kick was smothered, knocked away now by Rioli. Richmond trying to gain possession, actually work it outside their attacking 50. Marrick did well for West Coast, gave it to Jinby, got it back, and then gave it to Petroncelli, who gave it to Chesser. Some of the young Eagles getting involved as the kick up the wing goes to to Jake Waterman, who's getting a massive cheer. His kick up the wing, brilliant mark taken. And the crowd roars. You almost don't have to say the name. But it's the man in number 9, Harley Reid, called to play on, eventually gets the kick towards half-forward, flying from behind, unable to mark is Vlosten. Ball knocked out towards Nathan Broad. His kick up the wing's barely 15 metres, and it's not. Umpire calls play on. McIntosh kicks up the wing. Lafau takes the mark. I think it's coming back, though. I think he may have just stepped out of bounds.
No, Mark wasn't paid, but Lafau just attacks the flight of the ball so well.
Going any trouble for that tackle, and Vlosten had his arms pinged. Vlosten doesn't make huge contact, but his head does hit the ground. The other thing, Sharad, they could say, is by shoving him into the ground, you've actually delayed the game being played on, so you've slowed things down. Oh. Here goes Rioli, takes one bounce, and then he gives it, don't argue, Daniel Rioli to Reid. Hand passes to Dow and gets it back. That was class from Daniel Rioli. Kicks the Tigers to right half forward. Bolton marks. Plays on quickly, wants to put it into the right forward pocket. That's just exceptional from the Tigers. Where's that been all day? And Koschitzky marks despite the attention of Barris.
That's a great kick. One step. Didn't break stride. I think clunk one. Koschitzky. A quiet day.
The way Rioli weaved his way through.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
Tremendous play.
It's acceleration.
We saw a bit in that first quarter, and then it's been lacking. The brakes have been applied by West Coast. Koschitzky has a shot at goal. Heads towards goal. It's off hands in the goal square. McGovern puts himself over the top of it. Lafau tackles him. Ball up. 16-11, 107. 10-9, 69. West Coast over Richmond. 22 minutes or thereabouts gone in the final term. Jack Williams looks to go against Bolton, who flew. Spilled down to Yo. Coming out to the side, Hoff. He's immediately met by 2 Tigers. We'll have another ball up. Still deep inside Richmond's forward 50. Heading to the left of our broadcast position, the Farmer Freeway end of Perth Stadium.
38-point margin. Plenty of time left. Ball goes up, coming through. Harley Reid is able to take clean possession, kick it high beyond defensive 50. Ball comes off hands. Pickett takes it for Richmond. Was tackled. Umpire said he disposed of it legally, but it came the way of the Eagles anyway. Jimby gave it to Witherden, then to Long. Now out to Elliot Yeo. Disposal number 26. He goes short, finds a target. And Witherden, who continued his run. Standing on the middle of the wing, kicks up the field, and Jake Waterman will take mark number 13 for the game. He's got 6 goals next to his name. Sends it inside the forward 50. It's to the pocket. There's no one home but the Richmond defenders, and Nathan Broad takes an intercept mark. He kicks it across the face. It was dangerous, but Pickett was able to just get there in time, take the mark, and now send the ball beyond side defensive 50 as Barris gets up, punches it out of bounds, and the Eagles fans applaud the effort from the vice captain who punches it out of bounds. Throw in just outside Eagles attacking 50.
That's the noise you hear as Barris takes a little seat, running through the interchange gates. Bailey J. Williams wins it down straight to Reid, set upon immediately by Nankervis. Another ball up. If you want to get in touch with us in the post game, 2 ways to do so. 0437 774 774 if you'd like to send us a text. As the Eagles bring this away, Yo Otter Petrocelli in the right forward pocket. It all opened up for him, but he couldn't convert. He misses to the right, a minor score. 16-12, 108 West Coast. Richmond 10-9, 69. 24 minutes gone in the last. Or you can call us in the post-match, 1300 558 222.
Richmond work it beyond defensive 50. Kick up the wing. Duggan was one-on-one with Bolton. Bolton tried to seep out the back. The Eagles number 14 took the mark, read it well. He shares it with Rotham. Gets the ball back and now kicks wider again to Noah Long. The Eagles had kicked 11-2 in the first half and now 16-12. So you haven't said it a lot lately, but the Eagles really could have punished Richmond and put them away big time today. The kick goes up the wing. Miller had a couple grabs at it, took the mark. Didn't know if the umpire would pay it, so he played on quickly to Baker. He almost missed his foot. Eventually got the handball to Vlosten. Then the run of Daniel Rioli. Baker gives it now to Dow. Back to Baker. Kicks to Campbell. One-on-one with Jaden Hunt against the Eagles' speedster. Managed to arch the back and get away. Kicked it to Kajitsky. Couldn't mark under pressure from McGovern. And the Eagles win it back. This time Hunt's the one trying to evade Campbell. There was enough pressure. The kick was turned over to Baker. Gave the handball to Graham. On in turn to Martin. Now Daniel Rioli spears a kick inside the forward 50 and Lafau presents again. Another good lead, another good set of hands and a good kick inside the forward 50 by Rioli.
Gee, that's silver service, isn't it? Geez, his first 5 metres just accelerates so quickly.
So, as Clint Wilden said earlier, 3 goals in his career to date. The man from New Zealand. He's kicked 3 already today. Can he make it 4? No. His kick is away to the left-hand side. So all it does is narrow the margin slightly. 10-10, 70 Richmond, 16-12, 108. A 38-point difference in favour of West Coast. 25.5 gone, fourth quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Here's Duggan. It's gone defensive 50. Holding decision spotted by the umpire. On the way here, eventually, point in the direction of Richmond. Come back to Vlosten, who was the player infringed. Derby 58 next week for West Coast as Vlosten kicks the full forward. The foul couldn't mark. McGovern couldn't gather. Martin, who takes it over the boundary line and didn't do an awful lot to disguise that either. But when you've won 3 Norm Smiths and a Brownlow and premierships or plenty, you can probably get away with that. Elliot Yeo's come off the applause you hear downstairs. Deep in the left forward pocket for the Tigers. It's thrown in. Nankervis took front position, threw it on the boot, but misses. Another minor score for the Tigers, though the umpire said we'll come back here. There's been a free kick spotted to Williams in that ruck contest for a little nudge. So the score remains a 38-point lead to the Eagles. 27 gone in the last, and Harley Reid's now got the ball in the right back pocket.
This will be disposal number 26. He plays on, takes the man of the mark on, arches the back, runs away, kicks it up the wing. Unfortunately, it carries the pack and it's marked by Broad. But 26 disposals and a goal for Harley Reid. There's a very good chance that Rising Star nomination will come this week. The Tigers switch into the middle of the ground. McIntosh's kick was a tough one for McCall. If he was knocked off it, the Eagles win possession back. There's a player down in the middle injured. Chester takes the advantage. Kicks up the wing to Cripps. Now he's at half forward. Runs to goal. Kicks towards the 2 big sticks and he can't get it to bounce on the right side. It's a minor score. 16-13, 109. West Coast. 10-10, 70 Richmond. As we see the replay, Jake Waterman met with late contact from Camden McIntosh. He opted to make contact, McIntosh. Whether he meant to get him
sternum
head or not.
No, it was face on side of his head.
Doesn't always matter.
Here comes Lafau, just forward of the commentary wing. Kicks into the left forward pocket. Martin waited. Getting in there was McGovern, wanted to cross and killed it out from a throw-in.
He's got no interest in keeping that ball alive. Dusty, does he?
Richmond have next week off, a chance to regather. After losing last week to St Kilda and now to West Coast. Plenty of thinking to do for the Tigers. Ball thrown in, it came to McGovern, then to Reid, and Hoff was tackled, wrapped up by Mansell, no private call.
Doesn't get any easy, does it? Fresh Melbourne outfit. Anzac Eve.
Ball put up into the air. Bolton emerges with it, gets a kick towards goal. As the Eagles get their first win of 2024. They've beaten the Tigers by 39 points. 16-13, 109 to Richmond's 10-10-70. Blue and gold delight in the West.
Fortress built across the nation. Our colours share the West Coast sky. Our will to win will never die. We're the Eagles, the West Coast Eagles. We're here to show you why.
go back to round 7 of 2021 in a derby for the last time West Coast kicked a score bigger than this. 16-13, 109 to 10-10, 70. And Derby 58 coming next week. They've found some form just as they're about to play their greatest rival. A couple of the Eagles players will need to be reminded of the club song. Harley Reid will be singing it for the first time when they go down into the rooms very shortly. Bridgie Lacey to meet them. For West Coast, Jake Waterman, a career-high 6 goals. Elliot Yeo got 2, Jamie Cripps with 2, Jack Petrocelli with a couple, singles to Harley Reid, Campbell Chesser, Jack Darling and Jack Williams. While for Richmond, Shea Bolton with 3, Mike Kelty Lafau with 3, singles to Martin, to Baker, to Rioli and to Sonsi, the sub. Richmond with plenty of questions. At least they've got the bye next week. They're trying to sort things out. Now lost 2 games in a row. Eagles and what has been a very tough start to the season. They drag themselves off the foot of the ladder, West Coast, with a win today to the tune of 39 points in front of 47,665 fans. And it could have been oh so different, with Richmond in the first term jumping out to at one stage a 26-point lead. West Coast dragged them back to trail by just 8 at quarter time and then kicked 8 goals to 3 in the second to lead by 19 at the half. They put that out to a 42-point lead at 3/4 time and then went on to win by 39 points. We'd love to hear from you in the post-game. Here in the West, you can do so via the text line 0437 774 774. Or you can give us a call, 1300 558 222. Talkback is back on ABC Sports Sunday Footy here at Perth Stadium on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and of course streaming on the ABC Listen app. Richmond's worst start to a season since 2016 when they went 1-6. They're now 1-5, the Tigers. What have you made of all of that? The Eagles, their fans will rejoice. And as we've said, I think a few times before, wins are like jewels. Doesn't matter how you get them. They've got one today, West Coast. Shane Woden, Sharad Willingham, give us your thoughts.
I thought after quarter time, they were brilliant, West Coast. It was a bit of an arm wrestle in the first quarter. They got jumped early by Richmond. They fought their way back in that last 5 or 6 minutes when they kicked the last 3, I think it was. And then they completely dominated the game after quarter time. Led fantastic by Elliot Yeo in the second term. We just said, come with me, lads. But I think Simo today will be really, really impressed with their contest game. I reckon they smacked them plus 38 contested footy, plus 23 clearance, plus 28 ground ball. That's annihilation in that area.
I was worried early. I thought Richmond looked too quick.
Yep.
They looked like they had more desire and more willingness to create space as an option. So the people ahead of the play or the people getting to the right position, West Coast players weren't able to stay with them, weren't willing to defend hard enough, and it was just too open forward of the ball for Richmond. But to their credit, like you said, they just wrestled that back, whether it was getting in the right mindset to defend.
Well, I thought their team defence come into play a bit better. I think they delayed them, forced them long, and they didn't have anything down the line, Richmond.
And they took the chaos ball away from Richmond.
They did.
They brought it into a stoppage game, and that was when they really created that winning, I suppose, ascendancy through that arm wrestle that was the game. At that point, they changed the way they wanted to play it. They took it to stoppage and then really got on top of Richmond.
Very good after that. And got supply. Like 61 inside 50s for West Coast. I'm not sure what their record is in the last...
Well, their inside 50s have been okay because their clearance work has been okay, but they haven't been able to capitalise. And then today, Waterman marks 8... Oh, sorry. It has 8 marks inside 50. That's massive because you go back, you can set up your team defence behind that instead of it going in, losing a contest, and it comes racing back at you. You don't have time to set up anything behind the ball, do you?
No, you don't. And you can only play with what's in front of you too. a bit decimated from a key back point of view, Richmond, and I thought aerially they were really poor in D50 today. Their backs coach, Ben Rutten, wouldn't be happy with how they competed in that area, and they'll have to take 17 marks inside 50, but a lot of contested ones from their tools. So, you got good supply, you got good chance one-on-one. I thought they coached very well, set 6 ahead, pulled them back from stoppage, and let their mids go to work inside and give their forwards a chance. And they were able to capitalise and sustain the effort throughout the match.
Impressive from the youngster that we've heard so much about, and I've seen him once here in Harley Reid, but easily his best game of the season so far.
And the more games he plays, the more game time out there, get the speed of it. From more reports, and I don't know, but I think back home, he hadn't had a big engine, has he? So I think, from what I've heard, he trained once a week.
More and more.
Trained once a week with his TAC club team, and then goes and trains up in the bush with his country team. So
he's faded out of games the first couple of weeks, and then the last week or two he started to go. So 27 disposals at 82% kicking efficiency, 531 metres gained, 12 of his possessions were contested. He had 7 clearances, 8 score involvements, 6 inside 50s and a goal. And I'd guess a Rising Star nomination.
Do we know what all of the West Coast players are looking at?
I'm actually not sure. They're looking below the commentary position here, waving not just to their fans, but obviously some special guests in the crowd. I know the CEO was just below our position earlier, but I'm not sure the whole team will be waving to Don Pike.
And the Eagles, 87. The 87 team are in the rooms waiting for them. West Coast have paused to let 2 players who will be about to sing the song for the first time in Tyler Brockman, who came across from Hawthorn after 26 games with the Hawks. Alongside him, this number 1 draft pick that is showing signs he'll be as good as West Coast fans could possibly have hoped for. Harley Reid with the goal today as well. Those 2 leading West Coast down into the rooms.
Yeah, what he was doing at 18's level, he's just transferring it to senior AFL footy.
And chatting to a few of the boys at West Coast, he does practice all of that at training. So he doesn't mind getting caught holding the ball at training. He'll take them on and he'll test the tackle and continue to do that, I suppose, until it just gets better and better.
Until he retires. Let's go down into the rooms. Bridget Lacey.
Yes, heaps of family and friends in here tonight, and obviously, as you mentioned, the 1987 team all down here as well, having a fabulous time for themselves. So a great occasion for the club all around, but they waited a long time to sing this song, so I'm expecting it to be sung with plenty of gusto. Harley Reid's already in the middle, copying the sport streak.
West Coast Eagles, and we're here to show you why. We're the big birds, kids on the big cat. We're the Eagles, we're flying high.
There you have it, first win of 2024 for West Coast. We'll have a player for you shortly.
And dispense with the old preamble that they tried to use for a couple of years. Never thought it quite worked.
Didn't like it.
No.
We are the West. We are.
No, didn't like it at all.
Didn't like it.
I don't think the players liked it either.
No. And I think that's a good move. Like bringing the banner back. All good decisions by West Coast. Now they just need to win a few more games.
Was that in the circle then? In the middle of the circle.
Yeah, there was a young fan or someone in there as well. We might find out who that was. Tyler Brockman and Reid, obviously. Yeah, but there was another member in there. A few of the players had their kids in there because for some of them they haven't had a lot of opportunities with their young kids to actually have them in the song. Very good. They probably weren't born the last time some of them played in a win.
Anyone who was sceptical when I made our preview at 3/4 time in the previous game when Geelong beat North Melbourne by 75 points, and I said, look, if you're looking for an omen, West Coast Waffle team won today, and they hadn't won for a long time, 28-something games. Last time they won, the Eagles AFL team had won as well. Well, here we go. Another one of those weekends. Never knock the omen. Never knock the omen. These things do happen.
There's all a question on whether they showed up like they did last week today, wasn't it? I think there was a lot of confidence around the ground, around fans, around people up in the media centre saying if they just show 75% even of what they did against Sydney, who are a very good side last week, they can do it. But you just never know in the last 2 years with West Coast which version will show up. Because too often it's been the one that hasn't been good enough.
Well, they still showed up in that manner for the first 15, 20 minutes.
Yep.
Until they switched on, it was not working hard enough, not creating enough opportunities for their teammates. But then we were able to come out of that, get out of the funk, and
young teams can go either way when that's happening, to get 4 kicked on them early. So I thought they were really good from a television perspective last week in Sydney. It was only just until that last 30 seconds of the third quarter when the air went out of the balloon from that 50-metre penalty.
Yeah, when Sydney
they got 3 goals up. Yeah. I thought that was it. And they got blown away in the last. But, today, very good. Very good.
Well, it does make the derby, which for a period of time has not been terribly exciting, it adds a little bit more spice to that. Fremantle have been very good in 2 games and haven't been able to win. West Coast now victorious today against Richmond. Let's head downstairs into the rooms. Bridget Lacey.
Yeah, lucky enough to have Elliot Yeo with me. Elliot, how does that feel? Your first win for 2024 and pretty emphatic as well. Must feel good.
It was very good, yeah. I was sitting on the bench towards the end and the siren went. I thought, geez, I haven't been in this position before for a while, so it's a great feeling. And probably off the back of last week, we tried really hard and we were probably inconsistent in a quarter or 2, but felt like we strung it all together for 4 quarters today. And it, as I said previously, throughout the week, once we could get that 4-quarter effort and be consistent, we'll win games of football.
You kicked 8 in a quarter, though, today. I mean, you probably weren't expecting that, given you've probably struggled to score a little bit this season. Did you see that one coming?
Yeah, it felt like that. It's certainly throughout the part of the season we struggled as well trying to go forward with our ball movement, and it always felt that we were just that one kick off or that one handball off, and unfortunately a lot of teams would actually turn over and score on that, whereas the past sort of 2 weeks it's actually felt like we've got a lot more connection and a bit more cohesion with our ball movement going forward, so it certainly came through today, and that's probably why we were able to kick 8 goals in a quarter.
I've got to ask you, Harley Reid in the middle of huddle there, his first win in West Coast colours. He's been so impressive. What's it been like to be a teammate out there and in the middle with him as well?
He's an absolute freak. I love him when I see him, and I'm so glad that we got him because he can absolutely play the game of football. So, look, if he wasn't rising star last week, he should be rising star this week. He had an absolute phenomenal game.
The selectors are listening. Just on the huddle there with the song, there was another person in the middle there. Can you?
Yeah, so that's one of our trainers. That's Leslie. Today was 50 games for the club. So, once win all those sort of trainers and anybody that's sort of involved with the football club once they get involved, and they've been phenomenal support for us throughout the years, and Les is certainly one of them, and she's had her hardships as well, so to get her in the middle of the circle with the team at the end of the win is awesome.
Nice touch. I'll send you upstairs for some questions. We've got Shane Woodward and Sharon Wellingham, Clint Wilden and Mitch Turner.
Yoey, Shaz here, mate. Congrats on the win and the start of the season that you're having. If you're looking and from outside, look fit. You had a really good summer. Have you been able to string together as much as you want to, or is it just a matter of timing it right?
A bit of everything, really. It's been one of the one pre-seasons in about 5, or actually probably maybe 8 years now that I've had a really good run at it without sort of any injuries going into it. So that's certainly helped. Did a few things as well in the off season, which continues to help me sort of get through games of football. And I guess the proof will be as well if I can get through the rest of the year. But so far everything's going well. So it's a massive sort of step in the right direction when you can get a full pre-season under your belt.
And they kind of jumped you, that first 15 minutes or so. It looked like they had you on the back foot. What did you have to change? From up here, we recognised a few things, but what did you kind of do out on the ground?
The first one was just contests and their speed off of that. So we had to try and nullify that, and we certainly got the arm wrestle back towards the end of the first, and we kicked a few goals. So, we knew it was going to sort of come together. We just had to tweak a few things around the stoppage, and from that point on, it was pretty much smooth sailing, it felt.
Hello, Elliot. Wowie, mate. How are you?
Well, how are you, mate?
I'm well, thanks, mate. It's been a while. Hey, mate, what did you scout as a midfield group on Richmond? Because today you've belted them at stoppage, mate, and you've scored 10 goals from that area. But from an inside point of view around the contest, what did you scout where you went to work on them?
We just knew that we had the bigger bodies going in, so we knew that if we got our roles right and our craft right with our body work, that we'd be able to sort of get on top. And early days they wanted to use their foot speed as well to try and get out, and they probably kicked a few goals on us that way. So once we were able to nullify that and get the ball on our terms, we were able to sort of win the stoppages, and obviously that showed.
What was Simo's message at quarter time?
Oh, look, it was pretty much that, yeah. It was, we're right in this. We need to tweak a few things, but a lot of our KPIs were looking pretty good. So early days in that first quarter, our pressure was quite low, but towards the back end, we really ramped it up. So, yeah, look, hopefully we don't start like that in the future as well, though, because, if we come up against some really good teams, that will really hurt us.
Elliot, Mitch Turner here. I know the coaches and the players always say that regardless of results, the processes and everything stays the same, but how much better was the vibe and the feeling around the club this week, knowing the effort you'd put in against Sydney, who are one of the best teams in the competition? It must have given you a massive boost coming out onto the ground today.
Yeah, it did. And as I said before, we sort of strung it together for, half a game, and, we probably let ourselves down that last quarter, and then in stages as well throughout the game in Sydney. So we just knew that if we were able to be consistent throughout the 4 quarters, that we'd be able to string together a really good game. And that ball movement, obviously, you could see that we were doing some good things with it last week and previous weeks. We were just costing ourselves as well and shooting ourselves in the foot going forward. So once we were able to sort of rest that and be a little bit more composed with the ball in hand going forward, obviously it's been, it's proof in the pudding.
You mentioned you're on the bench late. I'm not sure if you had a chance to check your stat line and go through the box score that you racked up today, but the stat we've been given is that you're actually the first AFL player to have 15-plus clearances and multiple goals in a game since Dustin Martin in 2017. How much have you worked on continuing to hit the scoreboard when you're not just spending time forward, when you're doing it out of the midfield?
Oh, look, it's not so much about trying to hit the scoreboard. It's just trying to help the team. And if you're in that position, then obviously, have a shot and have a ping. But, you always try and give it off to players in better positions and trying to get others in the game as well. But sometimes it's your chance and your time to basically, live and die by the sword. And I had a couple of times like that as well throughout the game. So, just fortunate enough to be in the right area at the right time.
Clint Wilden here. Congratulations. Great to chat with you, Elliot. Jake Waterman, career high best, 6 goals today, and he really seems to enjoy a celebration, doesn't he?
He does a bit, doesn't he? A bit of a carry-on. He's a confident man. So, look, he had a phenomenal game too. And, look, it's a good feeling. A lot of boys had really good games as well. So, it's, hopefully we can continue to build on this and continue to be consistent with how we want to play and, how we commit going forward in the next couple of weeks.
We had a couple of text messages saying he's like, with the haircut, he's like the old G-Train, the old Fraser Gehry. With maybe the J-Train should be the new nickname for him.
No, we'll go with G-Train. I think he likes that one too. A few of the boys have been calling him that around the club, so yeah, we'll roll with that.
See, it's not just the players. Everyone else has picked up on that as well. I know you've just finished a game, so this sounds ridiculous to ask it, but how much more interesting does next week become? Derby 58 on Saturday night. They're always big, but they're even bigger now, I'd imagine, after that victory.
Yeah, it is, and Freo played really well as well last night. They probably cost themselves going forward. I actually thought that they probably should have won by a few goals, actually, so probably shot themselves in the foot. So that, and that's 2 weeks in a row now, so they'll be looking to come out and be red hot, as derbies always are. So, yeah, it's going to be good fun and a good opportunity to see where we're at and how we're moving the ball against them, because they're a very good defence team.
You're allowed to play a straight bat, but do you reckon you might end up on Nathan Fyfe again?
Oh, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. There's some very good midfielders in there. Sarong's an absolute phenomenal player, and he's in some red hot form as well. So Brayshaw's a good player, Fyfe is a good player, Young's a good player. So they've got a pretty good midfield. So yeah, we're going to have a work cut out for us, that's for sure.
Keen to see those midfielders against yourself, and indeed Harley Reid, as you said before. Tremendous win. Congratulations. Nice to see West Coast up and about again. Thanks for chatting to us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Elliot Yeo downstairs. What a game he had, as Mitch told you. First AFL player to have 15-plus clearances and multiple goals in a game since Dustin Martin in 2017. And we said during the call how much fitter he looks, but the ability to actually have a pre-season when he's had so many injury problems and dramas, you can see the difference it's made to his confidence and the difference it's made out on the park.
Oh, it's underrated how much a pre-season's important, isn't it? A lot of players will tell you that too, and people within football clubs, that if you go without a preparation, it makes it hard to be consistent for the entire season. So for him to get on the park and have a full pre-season and get fit and get healthy again, it's important for him and West Coast.
If you want to send us a text, this is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Clint Wilden alongside Mitch Turner, our experts, Brownlow medalist in Shane Woden, Collingwood Premiership player and West Coast player in Sharad Wellingham. 1300 558 222 is the number to give us a call. Pick up the phone and give us your thoughts. Eagles fans driving away from Perth Stadium, how delighted were you with that performance? How does that change your thoughts going into Derby 58 next week? Or if you're around the rest of the country and you happen to be a Richmond fan, what do you think of what's happening at your club? 1300 558 222 if you want to speak to us here. Sunday Footy at ABC Sport. A few texts rolling in. Valerie's in Shepparton in Victoria listening in. Still an Eagles fan, loving the coverage. And Richard, who's normally from Manning, was listening to the call from Antigua in the West Indies.
Oh, wow.
So not a bad spot to listen to the game. Go the Eagles, so Richard will be very happy. Fran's from Melbourne. G'day, team. Not sure whether to be happy for the Eagles or sad for the Tigers. The coach, all is in disarray. Wasn't happy when the Pies lost to the Eagles, though it could happen, hoping not. Cheers to Sharad. That's from Fran. And this is a bit harsh from David in Lonnie. What's the earliest that a team has been questioned for tanking? I'm not sure anyone's doing that at the moment, David. Not quite this far away from the end of the season. Richmond are now 1-5. West Coast are 1 win and 4 losses. But the Eagles, most importantly for them, have dragged themselves off the foot of the table with a 39-point win over the Tigers, 16-13, 109 to 10, 10-70. Bailey J. Williams was recruited as a forward, got thrown into the ruck because West Coast had no other options. I just am impressed by the way that he continues to go about it. I'm prepared to put my hand up here. 2 years ago, I always thought this is not a move that's really working. He's become a genuine reason for West Coast to compete and to battle around the ground. He never gives up.
No, he's great, isn't he? He launches really well up at the ball now in ruck contests. I think around the ground, boundary throw-ins is probably his weaker side of his game at the moment, but he's not getting manhandled or anything. But if he takes that to another level and West Coast are then able to get proactive at stoppage around the ground, boundary throw-ins, it just adds a whole nother string to his bow, which being able to throw him forward, that's just a luxury that they'll have in the future, I think.
I think he's impacting more around the ground too in the last 12 months, 18 months, where I thought, because he didn't have a tank, he couldn't get around the ground too. So
17 clearances and 17 hit-outs for Bailey Williams to go with his 13 touches.
7 clearance.
But the funny thing is...
That's good. That's amazing for Ruckman.
You talk about the numbers as you're referring to, guys, but so Richmond 49 hit-outs to Eagles 24, but the Eagles won the clearances 48 to 25.
Yeah, they went to work.
So they're losing the hit-out battle as a number, but they're still winning the clearances. And for Fremantle, another side who are tossing up with their ruck strategy at the moment, Luke Jackson is also losing hit-out counts.
But if you compare hit-outs to hit-outs to advantage, Nankervis has had 7 to Williams 5.
Yes, and Nankervis converted his 37 hit-outs to just 7, and Bailey Williams only needed 17 to get to 5. It's the same last night, the Fremantle game. Soldo monstered in the ruck in terms of hit-outs, absolutely enormous, but Fremantle won the clearance count.
Yeah.
So it's always an interesting discussion, isn't it, on how you go with your ruckman.
Richmond, unfortunately, won't make a player available to us, so apologies to our Richmond supporters who are no doubt listening in, hoping to hear something from. Let's, in just a moment, we'll head downstairs and take the Adam Uze press conference after his Tigers side went down by 39 points today. West Coast 16-13, 109 to Richmond's 10-10, 70. Just a reminder, too, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do so. Mo from Melbourne. Bloody Richmond, destroying my young fella's dreams. It's like watching E.T., but he stays dead. Come on, the Tigers. Was E.T. never died, did he?
It's a long time ago. I can't remember.
Yeah. He did go home.
He goes home, though.
That's
the whole
point.
Like
Richmond will at the end of this game after
sick.
being away
sick,
for 2 weeks.
He was
sick,
but he goes home. Isn't that the whole thing? He rides off into the...
I don't know.
It's
a long time ago.
He wanted a phone home. He didn't want to go home.
I see Sardia Tech giving a thumbs up. I'm not sure if that means Adam Uze is ready to speak or it's ET's gone home and he knows. So we'll find out.
Go and take a punt that it's Adam Uze who's ready to go. Send us a text 0437 774 774 or give us a call 1300 558 222 if you'd like to get in touch with us. Here is the Richmond coach, Adam Uze.
Adam, blistering start, just couldn't keep it going. How do you sort of sum up today?
Yeah, it was really similar to last week where we feel like it was just one patch of the game that cost us, and that was the second quarter. They kicked 8 goals to 4. 4 or 5 goals from stoppage. So yeah, it was just the consistency across the four quarters again, which is kind of, we feel like that might happen when we've got a young group and young midfield group, and so we're trying to limit that. But right now we're going through a little bit, and yeah, that was obviously that cost us the game. Their midfielders got right on top and really hurt us.
The injuries you've had are nothing new. You've been competitive in the last few weeks despite them. Do you feel like today was just a bit too much for considering everything you've gone through in the last few weeks?
Yeah, I'm not sure about too much. We started really well. We've gone through a lot, not just the injuries, that we've travelled twice in a row, things like that. We're not going to use it as an excuse, but I've sensed that second half we looked tired. Our third quarter, that's not us. Tony get 3 or 4 inside 50s. And we just, the dam wall looked like it was going to break there for a little while, but we did look tired, I think, just based on the effort that they've put in the last 5 or 6 games. But I was really proud of the way we finished. That our leaders wanted to just finish off, hopefully hoping to win the last quarter and things like that, little goals. And but we've got a 10-day break now. I've just spoken to the players and I think we need a bit of a freshen up, and the breaks come at a nice time.
Does it look like you'll get anyone else back at this point after the bye?
Hopefully. At this stage, Jacob Hopper might be available. So we might get a couple. Dylan Grimes might be available, things like that. So to get some experience back in the side is obviously going to be handy for us. But just spoke to the players again. Some of our younger players had some opportunity. Kane McAuliffe realistically, it was like his first game, get an opportunity to play against Elliot Yeo and Tim Kelly and get a full game of midfield minutes. Thompson Dow, still a young midfielder. I thought he started terrifically today. While we're going through a little bit of adversity, our younger players are getting some opportunity. So we'll keep giving them that opportunity. But yeah, hopefully we get a couple back next game.
Picture for Taranto now that he's had the surgery?
I haven't really spoken to our doctors about that, just knowing that he's going to be out for a little while, so it might be 4 to 6 weeks, but I'm hoping it's closer to 4. So even that could have taken a bit of the energy, like our last training session before we leave to come over, and it's a little craft drill that he was doing. He breaks his arm or breaks his wrist. So that's part of the reason why I think we just looked a little bit flat today.
The way the Eagles perform with someone like Yeo sort of playing back to his best after going through all the injuries recently, does that sort of show how important it is to have those kind of mid-career sort of players available and at their best, and for a young group such as yourself? Yeah, well,
no doubt. The footy club that we just played today went through a lot of this last year. They had their good players and their leaders that were out, and you can see the advantage of when they're available. So yeah, we're going through that at the moment. And then our older guys and our leaders that are playing are obviously shouldering a lot of that load. So we look forward to getting those players back available. But right now we'll just keep giving our younger players the opportunity to and that exposure. So we just got to play it by ear and see who was available.
What are the areas on that stat sheet are a bit lopsided towards West Coast? Is there any one of them that just put like contested possession, I think, in nearly minus 40 on? Does that disappoint you compared to where you've been the last couple of weeks? Yeah, no doubt. And that's an outlier. Like, that's not us. As I said, there was a couple of quarters there where that just blew out. Like, they dominated territory and contested possession in that second quarter, and there was a little patch that blew those stats out. So we've lost inside 50s by 20, things like that. Hasn't happened in the last 5 weeks, and that middle part of the game, we just lost our way. And whether that's fatigue, whether it's obviously the guys that we've got out, or just the youth that we've got in the team, those numbers just were a bit skewed. The bye, you get a bye now, although I think you play on the Wednesday on the way back. So how do you work it, and how does it look like for you?
Yeah, well, our players will have a few days off, so they'll have 2 or 3 days off now leading into Anzac Day Eve, which is an amazing opportunity to play against a really good team in Melbourne, and a great spectacle. We love playing in that game. We're lucky to be playing in that game. So as a footy club, we want to do that game justice by putting on a good performance, and we can't wait. But our players need a break, so that they'll have 3 days off now, and really looking forward to refreshing, not only physically but mentally. Like I said, the last 5 or 6 games we've had a lot going on, so the breaks come at a nice time.
I know you've spoken about this previously, but have you had any more talks with Liam Baker around staying at the club, or obviously being in WA, playing for friends and family? It's pretty attractive as well.
Yeah, well, not any. Not other than a couple of weeks ago when I sat down with him and just wanted him just to play with a carefree attitude and really enjoy his time. And when he makes that decision, he'll make it. He's a terrific guy. We love him around our footy club. I'll say this over and over. But he'll make that decision, and whichever way he goes, we'll back him in with it. But once again, we missed him last week. He come in today. He gave us a lot of spirit and energy, and he's in really good form, which is great to see.
No doubt that Fremantle and West Coast, but certainly Fremantle, very keen on trying to get Liam Baker back home to the West, and they do have the draft capital to do so as well. So that is most definitely a watch and see. Adam Uze downstairs, the Tigers coach, after his team were beaten today by 39 points. 16-13, 109 West Coast, Richmond 10-10, 70. Let's go to the first of our callers, 1300 558 222, 1300 558 222 if you want to have a chat to us. Philip calls in from Ballarat. G'day, Philip.
How are you? How are you?
Really well. What do you want to chat about?
I umpired for 32 years. I umpired a young footballer. He come from the Bacchus Arch Football Club, William Duggan. What do I think I done to him when he played an under-14 final? I scorned him off the ground for swearing. I just want to know how we went today.
Me. Well, he went pretty well. Thank you very much, by the way, Philip, for calling in. You were one of the umpires there for the Carlton Fremantle game the other week, were you? How did Liam Duggan go today? Mitch, 22 disposals, 21 kicks and 1 hand pass, had 6 marks, 2 score involvements, and of course he might have been sent off as a youngster, but
he stayed on the park today.
And
506 minutes game. He was the captain today.
And he's the captain today.
Yeah. He's very good today.
He was solid, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was very solid down there.
Yeah, he used the ball at 71% by foot, and he had 21. Now, this has this 21 kicks, 1 handball. That's what you want Liam Duggan to do. You want him to use his leg. It hasn't been completely on point this year, but at his best, he's a good user of the ball.
Adam Uze used to do that all the time.
Really?
Yeah, less hands, just kick the footy. He'd walk off with 2 handballs.
He wasn't alone. I mean, Jake Waterman obviously didn't have to handball much. He had his 16 kicks and the 2 handballs. He wasn't handballing anywhere near the forward 50 today.
Oh, Kevin Bartlett, speaking of Tigers, what are his handball stats like compared to his kicks?
Wasn't it 0 for the career?
I think it was something.
Because he handballed in front of him. So
yeah.
The old chestnut of, hang on.
That counts as a hand pass.
Could feed it to someone else, or I could handball it into my own path, get it back and kick the goal.
Let
It
your
worked.
kickers kick.
Hungry.
Let your kickers kick.
Yep. If you can kick well, why would you be hand passing it? Though I do understand why. It's certainly an option in close. I just want to get your thoughts on where do Richmond go from here? And we heard that Hopper might be coming back after the bye, but Lynch is at least another 10 weeks away. Grimes couldn't have been too far away. He was listed as a test with his wrist. Prestia is going to miss at least another couple. And you would think Taranto is going to miss a couple as well.
At least a month, Taranto, they were saying.
And Ross with the stress fracture, he'll be out for a bit as well. So it's hard to see. They got Bolton knee 4 to 6.
Gibkiss season.
Yep. There's not a lot of reinforcements coming up over the hill.
By Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne, Fremantle, Dogs, Lions.
Tough month.
It's not a great 4 weeks.
Tough
month. Play the kids. Keep giving game time, keep exposing him as he's doing. I think he's been terrific. He's thrown them straight into the cauldron, and sometimes they're not going to be ready. And when you face a midfield like that, but exposes them, gets them ready. So when the cavalry does come back, which they will at time, but they're just being dealt with injuries to major players.
Yeah,
major players.
The spine has been taken out,
and their starting mids are not there. Hopper, Taranto, Prestia,
and I think it's good coaching that they don't just go, all right, Dusty, you got to go back in there. They left him forward. He's got a role to play. It's not that bullocking bull anymore.
Yep. McAuliffe, Dow, it's on you. Yeah, that's good for him. It's good learning, I reckon. So they'll go through that. I don't think anyone expected Richmond to maybe really push this year. It was going to be a real see where we go year. But yeah, the injuries have hurt them. And they won't use an excuse, and no one should, but it's fact.
Well, it's their worst start since 2016. They went 1-6. Last year, they almost started as badly, but they had a draw, then a win, and then the 5 losses. They had an extra 2 points on the board early on last year, but just a reminder, if Richmond fans are getting a little worried and dark, there could be sun on the horizon. They went 1-6 in 2016, and we know what happened the year after. They went on and won a premiership. So things can turn around very, very quickly if you get the right people fit and the right people ready. So it's not all doom and gloom, Richmond fans. We'll wait and see.
I like this from Phil of Werribee, who sent us this text message. Hi, team. I thought about all the travel. Relocate the WA teams to Tasmania, Hobart and Launceston. Or all the teams, put them in Melbourne, as most of the money is from TV and advertisements. That's Phil from Werribee, which is an absolutely ridiculous text, but I laugh at it. One of the reasons there's so much money, Phil, for advertising and television is because it is, wait for it, a national competition. Which, of course, it will not be the case if you move everyone to either Melbourne or to...
Correct. We are a national comp.
So we'll just compromise. We'll have gather round in Melbourne.
Yes. Well, they don't laugh. That's what Fox Footy... Remember we were watching that after... Fortunately, they didn't do this year. Well done to them. But last year at the end of gather round, Fox Footy sat around on their panel and said, we should have gather round in Melbourne. It's like, you have 5 games in Melbourne every week. Like that's basically you've got gather round.
We love you, Victoria. Don't worry.
No, we do, but it's just I just find
the 2 gentlemen behind us played in Victoria, so
yeah, they do, and it's a great
fond memories of living in Melbourne.
But there's a national comp, so that's not going to work. Travel is going to be an issue. It's
I forgot
always
what it was like to live in WA.
Did you really?
No, and how hard it is over teams.
No, and that's the case.
Because you become so Victorianised, you become so,
Well, you were at Collingwood.
You become so used to what's the normal around you.
Yeah.
You don't care about what's going on externally. Then come back over here and you're like, oh, wow, West Coast got it hard.
The Pies might have around $4 million to spend in the salary cap in the next couple of years, says one of our correspondents. Would Oscar Allen be available? Not as captain of West Coast. I'd be staggered if Oscar Allen's going.
He would not leave.
Anyway.
He would never. I don't know.
He
captain
lives and breathes this club and Western Australia.
And one of the reasons why he was given the co-captaincy alongside Liam Duggan.
And with a lot of money. So I don't think he's going to leave any time. Or he'll never leave. I'd be very happy to stake that.
Never say never, but...
No, it was similar to when people were saying, will Patrick Cripps come back? Patrick Cripps loves Carlton. As much as he loves WA, he bleeds for that club. He was never coming back. Liam Baker, he's fairly passionate about Richmond. Maybe he's a chance, but he is the heart and soul of that football team, and he will be the next captain if he stays.
Yeah, I do. Liam Baker would be a big get if you could get him across here. He'd be an enormous
He's a
get.
good player.
Yeah, terrific player.
He's a very good player.
What took him so long? Why was he under everybody's nose, as usual, playing at Subi? Just the height.
The height was the first thing. He was always a good junior footballer. There was a bit of controversy when he was going between waffle clubs as a colt over here, swapping between, I think it was Southbury Mansell over to Subiaco, and there was a bit going on. But he broke into the league side fairly early at Subiaco and was an integral part of a successful side. But when you're small, you have to do a lot more to try and get noticed at times.
But he's tough.
Most courageous player last year, the year before at the AFL awards night.
It's been a case for a lot of players, hasn't it? Matt Prittis got overlooked for 3 years. Liam Ryan.
Tim Kelly.
Got overlooked for 3 or 4 years. Remember the year Liam Ryan, it was the top 5 marks in the WAFL, and they were supposed to be top 3, and they couldn't because they were all Liam Ryan. So then they thought we were top 4, and they couldn't because they were all Liam Ryan. They made it the top 5, so there would be one other player.
And he kicked 72 goals.
Yeah, and it took that for him to actually get picked up by
I'm pretty sure it was on Will Schofield too.
Yep.
Yes,
a couple of them.
Yes, it was. G'day to Will.
Remind you of that?
Probably driving home now. Maybe the Tigers are on the right side of the track with injuries now. Later, they will have their guys back and ready, while other teams might be dealing with their own injuries later in the year. I don't think we should be judging Richmond super harshly because of the number of players they've got out.
No, I'm not.
It's the quality as well.
That's right. It's not just sheer numbers.
Yeah.
It is the quality of the guys they've got missing. Although, it's always that case. Oh, injuries are no excuse. No, but they are a reason. They are a genuine reason if you're missing the number of stars that they've got out of the team.
So Liam Ryan, half back in the waffle today. 19 disposals playing at half-back for the Eagles Waffle side, Liam Ryan. It's an All-Australian forward.
Might have worked okay for them, though, because they got up the West Coast Waffle team. Let's hear a little bit from Adam Simpson. If you want to join us, though, you're most welcome to do so. We would love to hear from you. Give us a call, 1300 558 222, 1300 558 222, or text us 0437 774 774. Let's take a few moments for the Adam Simpson press conference.
That must feel pretty good today. You must be really pleased with the overall performance of the side, especially that second quarter.
Yeah, the club had a good day, and our Waffle Eagles had their first win for a while. So Kyle Horsley's first win. And they played with heaps of spirit. So, and then the 87 boys came into the rooms before the game, and that was really special to see those guys. And 47,000 fans turn up to see us play, which we can't take that for granted, especially with where we're at the moment. So. Yeah, the support was strong, and then the players played the game the right way, albeit I think Richmond are pretty banged up as well. So we've been in that position before where it's just been hard going, trying to expose some younger players who perhaps aren't quite ready because of the injury toll. So we've sort of got a bit of perspective as well.
Elliot Yeo, just outstanding today.
Yeo, we got jumped first 10, 15 minutes, but I thought our mids really stood up, and Yeo just had that look in his eyes that I see a lot, but it was extra today, so I think he had a new haircut or something, but he looked pretty switched on, and he really probably started the return with the work around the ball, and then our forwards competed really well in the front half as well.
You said the 87 boys obviously around today. Was there anything special before? Did any of them speak before the game, or was it just?
No, we didn't do a lot. We just got them in my pre-game. They just got to see that. It went for about a minute, so. I think we just acknowledged them that, we quite often talk about the players' number when they play, and we had number one in the room, and just connecting to our past players I think is just as important as what we're doing at the moment.
Talking about the start, they jumped you in the start. You've got that young kid, Harley Reid, he doesn't mind taking on himself to win a clearance and get it forward, does he?
Yeah, I think connect everything to Harley. I think the mids in general really stood up. But Harley had a good day, hopefully he gets that Rising Star nomination. But, we just got to keep trying to manage him as best we can. He's a great kid. He works really hard. He wants to get better. And dealing with the attentions is something we're trying to help him with at the moment too. So he's so humble with how he goes about things. So that's just going to be a challenge, isn't it? We have a good win and everything gets pretty big.
There's Adam Simpson downstairs. If you do get a chance to have a look, I'm sure some of the footy shows over the next week or so will show you Harley Reid, the fend-off into the chest of Dustin Martin, and the turn and then the disposal of the football in a clearance out of sight of the ground here at Perth Stadium. It's worth watching. West Coast beating Richmond by 39 points earlier today. Geelong by 75 over North Melbourne. The two games to wrap up the Sunday serve of football for you here on ABC Sport. The votes, gentlemen, in the ABC Footballer of the Year and the Christian Medal. How have we gone?
Yes, Clint. Team effort with this one. One, we've given to Harley Reid. We thought his ability to get the ball from inside out and get out of stoppage was pretty important for the team when they were needing it at the stage. So he's honourable mention to Tim Kelly, just pipped him for the one. 2 votes to Jake Waterman with his 6 goals too. 11 score involved in state. He had a day out today. I was hoping he'd kick 8 or so, but
he could have as well.
Yeah, he was very good today. And I thought where the game started in that second quarter, when Elliot Yeo went berserk, he led from the front. So Yeo gets the 3 for us.
Which makes it nice and easy for the Christian Medal. 1 vote to Harley Reid, 2 votes to Jake Waterman, 3 votes to Elliot Yeo, all of the West Coast Eagles. Brett was listening in Canberra. As a Blues supporter, I was happy to see the Eagles get up, and I tipped them, as did you, Sharad Willingham, and indeed Bridget Lacey downstairs as well. G'day, Clint. Can you explain these little buys that are happening in simple terms? I don't understand it. That's M from Melbourne. Well, the teams that are having the buys are the teams that played in opening round. So they have to get the extra break because they've played the extra game, basically. So that's
they'll all be back on level pegging this week?
Yes, that's the last week. So it's Melbourne and Richmond that have the bye. And then, because everybody else, if you think about it, M had a bye in the opening round. So they all catch up with their bye. Everyone gets 2 buys this year in one chunk. Final thoughts, gentlemen, ahead of...
Momentum.
for us in the West, Derby 58.
Yeah.
Momentum.
Be a good game. Be hotly contested. Freo are playing some really good footy at the moment. They're outstanding. They're unlucky. Well, no, it's not unlucky. You ain't your own luck, but their last couple of minutes in each week haven't gone to plan. You know, but it'll be a good contest.
Momentum. I think that both teams, Freo need to get back on the winning ledger, and West Coast need to keep trying to roll with this momentum.
Look forward to seeing you tomorrow in the West at 7 o'clock. If you're on the East Coast, from 9 o'clock on Sport Digital, on ABC WA and ABC Perth over here. Extra time. We're joined by someone from the Fremantle Dockers as well as we continue to chat all things sport, myself and Sharad Wellingham. 2 games today. Geelong by 75 over North. They remain unbeaten, the Cats, while West Coast got their first win of the season. 39 points, the victors over Richmond. Thanks for your company.
The May issue of Gardening Australia is filled with growing goodness. Feast your eyes on gorgeous new release roses. Read about growing proteas and Japanese zelkova. And take a fresh look at chrysanthemums. Visit an artist's garden, give your indoor plants a health check, learn how to maximise your veggie harvest, and get tips on easy ways to compost. Available from newsagents and abcmagazines.com.au.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And I'm very pleased to say on the back of last night we get to catch up with the senior coach of the greatest club in the history of athletic competition, the Essendon Football Club. His name is Brad Scott. Brad, appreciate your time and congratulations on the win.
Wow, what an intro. Thanks, Corbin.
Brad, just before we get going, mate, I've got to put up with this all the time. He's a West Australian based resident. And even last night when a couple of goals were going, he's punched in the air, he's doing all sorts of things. The first time he's actually looked like he was thoroughly enjoying the match. Congratulations anyway, mate.
No, thanks, Mick, and always very good to catch up with you. And obviously Boomer as well. Great to catch up, mate. It was it was a good night for us. And Corbin, it's been pretty well documented. It's been some challenging times over the last decade or two. So glad you enjoyed last night.
What did you enjoy most about it?